What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode of A-Plus Morphinominal, your weekly stop for your Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider review and news right here on our YouTube page. It is I, your Morphinominal host, as always, Adam Perez, certainly coming through once again with a brand new episode, kicking off your weekend right. Following that, of course, Power Rangers Dino Fury that we wind up getting earlier on today, guys. We're going to be breaking it all down for you guys. We've got episode number 7 to go ahead and dive into and have a great review and discussion with you guys also. So I hope you guys are certainly ready for that. We got a ton of news coming out of Power Rangers, I should say, Hasbro Pulse's Fan Fest that we wind up getting yesterday. So we'll talk a little bit about that also, along with some Tokusatsu news and, of course, your guys' live viewer questions towards the end of our episode. So thank you very much, everybody, for certainly joining us here today live over on our Facebook page, along with our YouTube page as well, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much, guys. As you guys can see, maybe some things are getting a little bit more bare around here. I am planning on actually moving. I cleared out my bookshelf. Some of my DVDs and pop figures that were over on in this corner are in fact moving. So slowly but surely packing some things up to go ahead and move out to Fort Worth as we are leaving this apartment here rather soon within the next couple of weeks. So you know, we may have our new set that we're kind of putting together. You may see some new backgrounds here within the next couple of coming months and things like that. So a lot of stuff certainly happening here over at A Plus Morphinominal. So really pleased to share all of that with you guys today. But listen, guys, as always, you know how we like to do around here. Definitely going to go ahead and give some shout outs to some people that are joining us live, some people that are popping their heads in here today. We got Noah Cummings certainly coming through, Johnny Marrero in here as well, Charles Abrahams. What's up, Charles? Appreciate you certainly coming through also, man. Blossom's in the house. Thank you very much, Blossom. Adrian, what's up, Adrian? Appreciate you you coming through today. I'm Handsome Dude is certainly in the house as well. Power Rangers Legacy. Adam, you know what time it is. It's morphin' time, as always, man. Dino, AJ, what's up, man? Good to see you in here, AJ. Let's see here. Who else we wind up having? We got JB says, what? In the house also. Enrique, what's up, Enrique? Thank you very much for sharing your Saturday with us, man. Edward Sanchez production certainly coming through. Sonny Shields, what's up, Sonny? Thank you very much. Great to have you around here also. Glad you certainly enjoyed this week's episode. And of course, we got video DVD. And of course, guys, listen, if you're in the live chat, if you like giving your comments and your thoughts, feel free to go ahead and continue to show your support for the channel. Hit that big thumbs up. It certainly goes a long way, ladies and gentlemen, if you love our content. We got Frankie Logan in the house also. What's up, Frankie? Thank you very much for certainly coming through. JB says, what says Fort Worth? That is a good drive. Yeah, I would say from where I'm at here in Louisville, it's about maybe 40 minutes or so, just depending without any traffic. You know what I mean? Just depends on how much of a speed demon I am or how much of a lead foot I've got. So about maybe a 40-minute drive, if you will. I haven't actually minded it over the weekends when I go and visit my girlfriend. I usually stay over there for the weekend, so I haven't really minded the drive. It's pretty smooth when there's no traffic, to say the least, and you've got some good music kind of playing. You know what I mean? But let's see here, guys. Before we get into any of our topics here, you know, we love to go ahead and we got to keep the lights on, right? We've got some big changes that are coming, some new equipment, hopefully in our future. We got to keep our lights on. So if you guys want to go ahead and support the channel in any way to certainly help us get to that point, please go ahead and do so, guys. We actually have ourselves a Patreon page that you guys can certainly go ahead and check out for yourselves. Patreon.com/A+opinions. Not only do you get content from the Power Ranger side of things from A Plus Morphinominal, but if you're a big Marvel, DC, Star Wars fan, you get a ton of content over from our A Plus Hero Report channel as one. So 2 for 1, if you will, when it comes to our Patreon. But we got a ton of different exclusive content, early access content for you guys. Also, if you're certainly interested, let me go ahead and actually show you guys exactly what I'm talking about here. If you guys want to get a little bit more of an insight as to what we're creating for our Patreon. Again, we have 3 different tiers. We got tiers for $1 a month for your support, $5 a month for your support, $10 a month for your support. And each of those definitely have different things that are certainly available to you guys also. So we got a ton of stuff in regards to audio files. We even doing some Go Ranger reaction videos to celebrate the 45th anniversary. We got Go Kaiser certainly going on there as well. We've got access to our Discord community site as well. So definitely go ahead and check it out, guys. I'll go ahead and put put a link in the description box below. If you certainly can assist us and help out monetarily, we definitely would appreciate it. But if for some reason you certainly can't, there's also other ways that you can certainly support this channel, and that's by hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel if you certainly can. So we definitely offer a ton for you guys. So check out our Patreon. I will put a link in the description box below for you guys if you want to go ahead and check it out and see if you want to continue to grow and show your support for our channel. Also, wanted to showcase my fantastic Dino Fury shirt that I wind up rocking or wind up getting as of yesterday. I purchased them from I purchased two shirts. I purchased the green one from Izzy, or for Izzy I should say, and I purchased a red one for from Zato maybe a couple of weeks ago. I picked it up from carsonscorner.com. I haven't put it in the description box below, but I will put it in the description box below for you guys also. And I'm in the process of even contemplating getting myself a hoodie from them also. The hoodies are about maybe $49, maybe $50 or so. So I don't want to say pricey, but I love the material so far. It's very comfortable. I haven't had the opportunity to wash it more than once, so I don't think it's like shrunk yet that much, but I really love it. The colors pop for sure. So this is my Izzy shirt for sure to go ahead and represent her, and I've got one for Zato as well in red, and I do want to get myself a black one in order to represent for Chance Perez as well as Javi. So yeah, go ahead and check it out. Carson's Corner. He's got, and not just t-shirts and hoodies, guys, but if you're just big fans of Power Rangers, boxer shorts. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some socks designs there. I mean, anything you can think of, Carson's Corner certainly has it. So definitely go ahead and check it out whenever you guys get the opportunity. But guys, other than that, if we do have any stragglers that wind up joining in any last minute, certainly make them feel welcome. I will give some last minute shout outs in here as always. We got Shadow Nova Productions certainly in the house as well. And of course, Enigma certainly coming through as well. And we got Nerd Mix Alpha. What's up, Indy? Great to see you in here also, man. Hopefully you're certainly doing well over there, man. But all right, guys. Let's go ahead and get into our moneymaker, and that is, in fact, our Dino Fury reviews, guys. Episode number 7 hit us, Stego Search, which I'm so thrilled that we wind up getting the opportunity to have Chance Perez have a spotlight on him this week. Now, Chance Perez really is not an actor himself, definitely very much a musician, very musically talented, was part of a boys band, a boys group and things like that, was even on a reality television show for boy groups and things like that, or at least just for music in general, which if you haven't had the opportunity to see Chance Perez in the show, please go ahead and certainly find it if you will. There's probably some performances of him on YouTube you can go ahead and certainly check out. Great voice for sure. But the question is, how do you translate your musical talent over into a Power Ranger television show, right? And to be honest with you, I thought Chance Perez did a pretty good job here, injured in here, but also really having to deal with the emotions of his struggle that he winds up clearly having with his father, right? Clearly having to kind of give that very dismissive sort of attitude towards his Rangers when he doesn't want anybody to really bother him, sort of thing. So I thought for the most part, Chance did a really great job with the material that he certainly had. So I'm really eager to continue to see his growth as the character. I am curious as to what his nervous level certainly was going into this, considering that this is his first big sort of spotlight episode, right? Like there's something different about the idea of, being able to hide behind other characters or other people that have a little bit more of a spotlight, more lines in an episode, if you will. But to see Chance really have the opportunity to step up and have an episode dedicated to him, I think really says something. So I am interested to see how much Chance is going to even further evolve as an actor, how much more comfortable he becomes not only as an actor but around the rest of the crew and the cast, and really showcase that on the big on the small screen, if you will. So I'm really eager to see just his further growth as an actor. I believe this episode was also, we had a new director on board here, Michael Hurst, if I'm not mistaken. Some really great shots, if you ask me. He has one specific shot in here that I'm a really big fan of, and I'm wondering why the scene selection like that, or there's actually two, and I'm kind of wondering if Michael Hurst was behind both of them. There is one, once Izzy and Javi wind up leaving with their father, you see our 3 Rangers just kind of standing there. There's a great angular shot kind of looking up towards them, makes them feel really heroic for some reason, like the way that they're standing. I really love that shot that they wind up having, and I don't know if this is second unit director's job or not. Some of the Zord battles that we see with them sort of in the cockpit, there's a really great shot of when they are fighting amongst each other, or they're fighting inside of their cockpit, and their Zord winds up getting damaged, and the camera angle sort of tilts as you get to see Zato and his and the rest of the Rangers kind of on their knees. And then once you wind up getting the backup from Javi, who winds up popping up in here, and they get that re-energized, energy, if you will. The idea of him, Zato, standing up and then the camera tilting straight again, to kind of get that direct angle, that's very much common. There is something just about the movement and just the angle of that shot that really works for me, honestly, when it comes to this episode. So really love the work that Michael Hurst wind up doing in here. I believe he also did the previous episode, Superstition Strikes, if I'm not mistaken, also. So I'm not sure how many episodes Michael Hurst is certainly going to be doing, but I'm really been impressed with what we've gotten so far. But for me, overall, really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was pretty solid for the most part. I really continue to enjoy this series. I feel like there hasn't really been that much of a drop off, honestly. I mean, I think there's definitely clearly a ton of hype when you go into like the first 2 episodes. And I think with every show, things kind of, I don't want to say they start going downhill or anything like that, but I just feel like the enthusiasm for the newness, right, kind of maybe wears off a little bit, and you really start focusing just on the story. What are they trying to tell us? Am I enjoying these episodes? And I think this has been such a consistent season so far that I continue to be really, really impressed. So let's see here. We start off this episode with the idea here that we are looking for Javi's Stegosaurus, his new Megazord, if you will. We got Solon, who comes up with a brand new technology to go ahead and search for these Zords, but it's not really until Javi starts playing with his brand new Kitar, or just starts messing with music, is when Solon is really able to detect it. It seems as though his Zord is kind of just in sleep mode, or whatever the case may be, but is being activated anytime Javi winds up playing music. I love the fact that Ali, his smarts, because this guy's clearly a genius, that Ali smarts is really the one that sort of picks up on the idea that when Javi plays, the Stegosaurus awakens, sort of thing. And I immediately just love that link that they wind up creating between our Ranger and our Zord. I feel like it's rather unique amongst other Rangers that we have in this show. We haven't really seen like what that direct connection between Zord and Ranger is, but we immediately know what it is between Javi and his Stegosaurus. I always want to keep calling him Chance, but I really love that. I love the fact that they have that kind of connection, and you can clearly tell Javi loves the fact that his Zord loves music and gets him pumped for it. So I really enjoyed that aspect. But in the process of this episode, we do see that Javi finally does get his Kitar. Like it's literally a guitar with keys on it, just like a piano or a keyboard. I really dug it. I've definitely have seen this instrument plenty of times. I didn't even know it was called a Kitar, but it was really cool to kind of see him finally get it. I am kind of curious, is Chance really playing that? Like, is he like when he's out there on the park bench and we see him hitting the keys, is he really playing something out there musically inclined? And then it's added sort of in, I'm sure it's certainly added also after in post-production, with sound editing and sound mixing and all that good stuff. But I am curious if Chance is actually sort of playing it, hitting those notes. You know what I mean? I mean, the guy's super talented musically. I am wondering if from his voice and some of the other stuff, instruments that he plays, I do wonder if that rolls over to all the stuff that we've seen: harmonica, the whistle, the Kitar. Like, are all these things that he actually does play? That alone certainly would impress me. But quickly wind up being stopped in here by Warden Buzzkill, who clearly really wants his son to have nothing to do with music or instruments at all. I am really fascinated by this relationship between them. I think he says it's bird nesting season. Like, talk about a lame ass excuse to stop somebody from playing music. You're making too much noise. It's bird nesting season. I mean, listen, if you are bird lovers out there, maybe that is really a thing. But seeing Javi happy and in his zone, only to be shut down by his father, definitely very much a buzzkill. Definitely puts Javi in a bad mood, and everyone can tell clearly the idea of him being cold and dismissive. Like the fact that Warden Buzzkill, asks him, "Where did you get the money to go ahead and get this?" Right? Complaining about all the musical instruments that he's purchased, even runs down the list, almost seemingly mad that he hasn't stuck with one particular thing. There's a clear misunderstanding here between father and son, right? Like I am wondering what the ordeal is and why there is so much animosity from the warden towards his son. Is it the fact that maybe the warden, maybe he had a musical career in his or wanted a musical career for himself and just wasn't that good and wind up having to settle for being a warden somewhere? You know what I mean? So maybe there's some jealousy, some animosity towards his son for being that musically inclined, right? Maybe he thinks when it comes to very much like Ravi, right, from Beast Morphers, is the idea of art, right? I mean, music is a form of art. I know being into art may not necessarily mean you go on to make a ton of money in your career, right? It's not necessarily the most stable job, I guess you can really look for, right? Like, did Warden Buzzkill have bigger plans for his son? Maybe didn't want him to waste his life on art or music or whatever the case may be. I really want to know. I really want to know, and I'm a little bit bummed that this episode really didn't tackle it, right? I mean, I felt like they tackled more the idea of how Javi handles his father giving him all this pushback and the idea of how he treats his friends when he's sort of in a bad mood. But there's a very much bigger picture here. And that situation is the father and son relationship. Like, why is that as terrible as it is? But yet you look at Warden's relationship with Izzy and it's like rainbow and sunshine. It's right. It's like almost a complete 180. So I'm hoping that this season at least tackles that and doesn't just lay it by the wayside from just this one episode and moves past it. I really do think that there's a bigger situation here. And again, I'm a big fan, and I've said this before, I'm a big fan of shows and movies that really highlight father and son relationships, because I do think that they're very vital in a man's life. We see statistics all the time of single parent households, or people that don't get raised with a father around or a father figure sort of in their life, right? I think that type of visual, to see a father and son working things out, making up, doing things together, I think that's all really powerful visuals to see on screen for guys, and so I really value those type of relationships, and I really hope that despite the fact that we clearly have a struggling one here, I do hope that there's some attention to detail throughout the remainder of this season where it at least gets brought up a little bit, so we can kind of have maybe the Warden and Javi end this season kind of on a positive note. You know what I mean? I mean, listen, Ravi and Commander F, when it comes to Beast Morphers, had several episodes where we got to see Ravi hiding his passion, right, and his mother clearly voicing a displeasure. So I definitely want to continue to see this kind of built up between them. But yeah, maybe it definitely wasn't Warden Buzzkill this week. It was definitely more like Warden Asshole. Definitely, for sure. Like, even the fact when we get to see Javi trying to help his sister, who winds up getting brutally hurt by Boom Tower in here. The fact that his father comes to kind of help them out. Javi even manages to express that I tried to protect her, right? The Black Ranger, which, mind you, to think on your feet like that, I thought was brilliant. The Black Ranger came and protected us. I tried to, protect Izzy. And the fact that he's like, well, she got hurt a lot more than you did, so clearly you did a terrible job. Like, damn, bro, like, how do you hit your son with that after he clearly just tried to save your daughter's life? Like, you know what I mean? Like, just the disrespect and the complete shutdown of Javi in here from his father was just brutal, man. Just absolutely brutal. So the fact that not only that, but then it goes viral. Like, the one thing that you don't want to happen is to not only your music go viral, but then to get scolded for playing music. I mean, talk about, I definitely probably would have been embarrassed. upset, just hurt. And I can definitely understand why Javi was certainly in the mindset that he definitely was. So I thought they actually did some pretty good storytelling in here. I really did. I did cringe a little bit when you got Amelia. That's like, that's pretty tough, man. Patting him on the shoulder, like, bro, I don't want to hear that. Like, that's really not the way that I want to go viral. You know what I mean? I thought Javi's storyline here was really strong this week. I thought his stuff with his dad was definitely spot on, and I continue to love just the brother and sister relationship here between the with Izzy and Tessa Rao just continues to impress me week after week, right? Like, there's just levels of acting that you can just tell that she's definitely has that experience. Like, every line that she delivers just seems so incredibly natural for her. And just this sibling relationship feels very natural to me. Just the way that they talk with each other, joke with each other, right? Izzy talking about, yesterday was your turn to do the dishes. I hope that's not why you're mad, bro, right? I feel like those are easy conversations that brothers and sisters can certainly have. That little insight of, occasionally he does get this stomach issue sort of thing, and leave it up to Ollie to kind of throw that in his face also. Better in than out. Am I right? But I tell you, the lines continue to be great in here. I think some of the dialogue can be cringy, I will admit, but this episode I felt like it was pretty on point this week. The better in than out sort of thing I thought was great, or better out than in. I can't remember the exact line itself. But I also love the delivery from Javi in here when he does show up and they're like, hey, we've got good news and maybe some bad news, right? Like, hey, we've located your Megazord. Yeah. When's the parade? Like, I love just the deadpan delivery of it, right? Like, there's just no enthusiasm in his voice, just because of the fact of just the terrible mood that he's certainly in. So I really enjoyed it. I thought even the idea towards the end of the episode of him apologizing to the remainder of his crew, right? The idea of like, listen, I need to be more open with you guys. There are some things in my life that I don't really talk too much about, and that could be a blockage for some people. Like, for me, while I'm not musically inclined like that, I feel like there are people out there in the world that sometimes just have things that they are struggling with, or certainly dealing with, that they don't really like to burden other people with their feelings or their emotions or some of the things that they're kind of struggling with. Like, sometimes I even find myself with that case, right? And sometimes there does tend to be that blockage and that wall that you put up with your other friends, because they can't get too personal with you, right? They can't really know who you are or your truths because of the fact that you're really not letting them in that much. And so I love the fact that Javi at least recognizes that and decides, I'm going to be more open with you guys. When something's bothering me, I'm not going to give you guys a cold shoulder. I mean, he even like knocked somebody's hand off his shoulder this episode too. Like, Javi was not having it at all. But I absolutely loved what we wind up getting in here. I thought they did a really good job. Chance, again, coming through with a great performance here for what they certainly asked of him. And so I'm really eager to see what they wind up doing going forward. A couple quick honorable mentions. Just going back to that scene at the end with Javi apologizing to everybody, when he walks up to the rest of the crew, and you see Izzy with the, her arm in a sling. If you look really closely, he gives a fist bump to Ollie, and then he goes to give a fist bump to Zato, and Zato does he does the hand grab, the classic, fish out of water thing again. We had the salty potato chips sort of thing, misunderstanding, but that fist bump to the hand grab, that classic miscommunication, I fucking loved it. I loved it. It's super brief. I missed it the first time. I actually had to watch the episode a second time in order to go ahead and get it. But going back to Tessa real quick and Izzy, because I did boast a little bit about just their sibling relationship in here. I had to give her some props because I love Izzy as a character for her just unapologetic sort of attitude and sass and wit, right? Like, she's one of those girls that, like, if you said you need to smile more, she probably would slap the shit out of you. Like, she is who she is. And I love the attitude. I do. I love the sass. I love the wit that's accompanied by it. Even when her little rivalry, I feel like that she has with Boom Tower, right? She definitely reminds me of like a Peter Parker Spider-Man. Like, he has like those one-liners, that those zingers, if you will, that just get to his enemies. I feel like that's exactly what Izzy is doing when it comes to Boom Tower. Always has something to sort of pick on him about, right? Or some line that she's got to deliver. Talk about, you better stretch this time. You don't want to pull a muscle. You know what I mean? I love her attitude in here, and just the ferociousness on her face when she gets into that morphine sequence mode. Like, she's here to do business, and not play around. And I absolutely love that. There is very much that competitive spirit about her that really just that really carries over into her ranger attitude. So, and I love the morphing sequence we wind up getting in here for the siblings. Also, the Garcia morph, as I like to call it here in this week's episode. The one thing that I absolutely love, but despite the fact that Bert, you're still killing it, my guy. Music is just off the charts every time that they morph, and not only just for the morphing sequence, but the Zords too. Like when the Stegosaurus comes through, the rousing music, the Zord battles, epic stuff. Bert, certainly keep it up, man. But one of the things that I loved about this morphing sequence is it gives you a closer view for Izzy also when she goes into her morph. So once we get there, I love the idea that just before that music drops, she uses her hands like claws. I don't think I ever realized that into this episode, because she goes back and she boom, and then she hits the ground and the music hits. It's almost like everybody's morphing sequence is distinctly their poses distinctly different. Like even when you go and look at Hunter, there's a great one of Hunter when she like looks at the screen and she throws up her fist sort of thing, and she got this anger on her face also, or this determination, right? There's just little things that really go a long way. But that Izzy with the claw smash, bro, it got me. It got me here this week for sure. So continuing to love Izzy and here, the relationships, but the man of the hour, no joke, was certainly Chance Perez with a great performance here as Javi, and really sinking his teeth into some emotions here when it comes to his father. We also get the opportunity here to see Boom Tower a little bit, takes the sporks for himself to make himself a little bit more powerful. While Void Knight originally is pissed and upset at the idea that he went behind his back and took the power, he clearly is open to the idea of, you know what? Keep doing what you're doing. Go back out there. Go back out there and see if you can go ahead and take down the Rangers. Unfortunately, he certainly cannot, and Boom Tower is certainly easily dismissed. Now, in Real Soldier, Boom Tower, I don't think stuck around very long. I think Homeboy was killed off. Like, it would not surprise me if he's killed in like next week's episode or when we come back from hiatus. But he does pop back up, I think, like maybe one or two more times in Real Soldier. So it'll be interesting to see his usage for Dino Fury, if they're just going to really expand Boom Tower's role in this series, certainly going forward. We got to talk about the Dino Fury Megazord this week. The Spike transformation looks great. Looks great. We saw the Tiger Claw transformation or formation last week, or the week previous. Now we've got the Spike formation this week also. And I'm a sucker for a great sunset battle. Whether it be a nighttime battle, sunset battle, I love when they change it up for sure. And I just thought the Megazord battle this week was pretty spectacular to go ahead and see Javi not only locating his Zord, hitting it with the Ocarina of Time. I wish they had given this guy an Ocarina, because it just reminded me of Zelda from the past Zelda games with Link, with his whistles and all his tunes that he would hit, very much like a Green Ranger or something, right? And then the Stegosaurus comes out of the ground. Like, dude, I loved it. I love the connection that we get between the Megazord. You can see the enthusiasm Javi has, ready to jump into the cockpit and have some control of this Megazord himself. I thought all that stuff was brilliant, honestly. Let's see here. Oh, I also thought it was interesting that the Rangers actually wind up purchasing a Kitar for him. Mind you, wasn't that thing like $900 or something like that? I guess Buzz Blast pays like what is New Zealand's minimum wage? Like, I wonder what they pay out there for Buzz Blast in regards to Javi, one, clearly dropping his entire first check on a Kitar. Clearly, I mean, guys probably been working for them, 2 weeks? They probably get paid bi-weekly. He's like, first check, boom, I don't got to pay rent. Sorry, dad. Maybe that's why his dad's pissed off, right? Like, hey, maybe you could be helping around the house a little bit more. Instead, you're using all your money, all these damn instruments that you don't play anymore, which I thought was great that he winds up just taking his whistle out of his pocket and just starts playing it. Like, do you have a harmonica in your back pocket too, Javi? I mean, this guy loves his instruments, and I'm here for it. But the fact that the remainder of the crew crew wind up pitching together to go ahead and pay for his guitar. Zato clearly isn't paying for anything because he doesn't have a job for himself. So Ali and Amelia, those are some good ass friends, Javi. Keep them around, man. Keep them around. But last but not least, Jane and Jay Borg. I will say this. I do know that clearly there are some people that are tired of Jane and Jay Borg already. There's certainly some people that certainly don't mind their usage. Some people really enjoy them. I really don't mind their usage. For me, I feel like they seem to come into the episode at great times. They aren't coming in to really disrupt, a mood, if you will, right? It's not like they've got a serious discovery or something serious they've got to handle, and then all of a sudden, hey, Jay Borg, they don't come in and just completely disrupt it. At least when we get to see the both of them in this episode, it's both during music, right? Everybody's in the park having a little bit of a good time. Jay Borg with the new hairstyle, if you will, showing off some of her tunes, some of those pitches, la 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 la, some of those pitches of hers. And then, of course, we wind up getting the great freestyle, maybe not the not so great freestyle from Jane in here for sure. And please, Russell Curry, please tell me you didn't give her those bars, man. I know you got some bars in your back pocket. I've seen you rap before, sir. I really hope you didn't help Jane out with a couple of these lines. I hope this was all her, to be perfectly honest with you. But I don't mind their inclusion. I really don't. I thought it definitely made for some funny, yet maybe cringy moments. That freestyle made me cringe just a little bit. Like, why are we attempting this, guys? Please don't. But they did it anyway. And I am surprised that Jay Borg at the very end didn't hit the robot. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you're an android yourself. Like, you're trying to tell me you can't boom, 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 boom. You can't hit like a robot move that's not in your program somewhere. I did find that a little bit odd because I really would have loved to have seen Jay Borg get down a little bit. But great musical composition at the end. I did hear somebody on Twitter mention the idea like Dino Fury attempted to do a musical piece similar to Beast Morphers and just came up a tad bit short. I wouldn't even compare the two. Like the amount of effort and creativity and energy that went into a musical episode of Beast Morphers is vastly different than a 1 minute boom, 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 let's dance, guys, compared to that. Like it's not even trying to compare itself or even be like a musical episode or whatever the case may be. It's literally its own thing. So I thought that was a terrible comparison, but I really enjoyed it. Zato, like Russell, you got to have more rhythm than that in your body, man. But granted, it is Zato, right? So Zato probably doesn't know what the hell he's doing as he's dancing. He's like, I don't know what this is, but this music sounds great. Hunter Deno still coming through with the moves. I'm always impressed when a white girl's got rhythm. I just am. It's not an everyday occurrence. You know what I mean? So to see Hunter Deno with some rhythm, we've even seen it on a couple of her IG and TikTok pages. Great stuff, man. Again, an opportunity to see everybody have some fun at the end. But the physical comedy, right? It's got to be in there. If it's got to be in there, I certainly don't mind it coming from Jane and Jay Borg, at least when it fits into the episode and when everybody's wrapping up an episode and they're having a good time. Just play with the physical comedy a little bit. You know what I mean? I certainly don't have any issues with that whatsoever. It's always going to be in there. This is a kid's show. We have to certainly allow it. I'm just thankful, at least, that when it comes to the showrunners, the way that they've been handling it, I think at least has been really well handled. It hasn't really taken me out of the episode or taken me out of some really important moments. It continues to stay focused in that sense. So I'm kind of curious to know what you guys think. Again, at the end of the day, I really enjoyed this episode, guys. I thought this was another great one under their belt. Chance Perez, kudos to you guys. Simon Bennett, still killing it. Michael Hurst, great directing this week. Bert, awesome job when it comes to the music. And of course, when it comes to the second unit directors and Yuji and Kenjo, you guys are killing it when it comes to the fight sequences. We even wind up getting ourselves some great great mixture between original footage and Super Sentai footage in here for the morphing sequences, but also some really great choreography also from the civilian fights that we wind up getting. Like seeing Kai as Ali going underneath the poles, flipping over the poles. I wonder if I felt dizzy just watching it, let alone even trying to pull off some of those moves. But yeah, they continue to get really, really creative with their stuff, and I'm here for it, guys. So another great episode under its belt this week. Really solid. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what we're going to get in next week's episode. But at the end of the day, these are just my A+ opinions. I want to know your guys's. What did you guys think of episode number 7 of Dino Fury Stego Search? Let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. And since this is review and discussion, I'm going to go ahead and jump over into the comment section and see what some of you guys are saying. Especially, look, it shows that we have like 30 people that are watching us live. If you've been here and you love our content, hit that like button, guys. It really does go a long way to help our channel grow. We really would appreciate it. And of course, feel free to subscribe if you'd like to. But let's go ahead and go through some of these comments, see what some of you guys are certainly saying today. This is a little bit off topic, but I do want to bring this up and highlight it real quick. Charles says, I'm not sure I should make a Power Rangers site. I am only one of 2 people who watch Power Rangers still, and at 37 years old, I feel out of place in Jamaica. Well, hey, man, thank you very much for reaching out to us from Jamaica. It's kid stuff, and it's lost its sting. Rider and Sentai are still cool. Well, you know what, Charles? You can create whatever you want, man. First off, let me just tell you, your age means nothing. Don't worry about your age. I'm 38 years old. I know I don't look like it because I'm extremely handsome. No, I'm just kidding. But 37 years old, no problem, man. There's tons of people that are probably older than us, maybe around our age, that have YouTube channels or podcasts that talk about this stuff. This is the stuff that we grew up with, right? We want to continue to see it grow and even get better than what it already is. So if you want to talk Power Rangers, it doesn't matter if you've got 1 person watching, 2 people watching, right? Your stuff can certainly reach internationally. Like, I'm not in Jamaica. I'm near Dallas, Texas, and yet you're from Jamaica watching us, right? So just because you only have maybe 1 or 2 people around your area that still watch, there are plenty of people out in this world that certainly do. And if you want to add some Kamen Rider and Sentai stuff because you think that they're more popular, feel free to, right? Like Tokusatsu in general, I feel like is becoming even bigger here in the States. You know, Toei's taking perfect execution of bringing over Kamen Rider stuff and Ultraman stuff here to the States, right? Really getting us more used to what they do over in Japan. So if you want to do it, Charles, certainly pull the trigger, man. Definitely. And of course, rest in peace, DMX, for sure, man. Just terrible to lose a legend like that this past week. I don't know if you guys ever grew up with DMX music, but I certainly did. I at least had 2 or 3 of his albums growing up. Very impactful on one's life. I grew up with a lot of classic soul, R&B, hip hop, rap. So DMX was just a part of my I don't want to say my childhood, but my teenage years, certainly growing up for sure. Let's see here. Going into the episode itself, Johnny says the warden was a big jerk. Yeah, I mean, I feel like jerk is letting him off easy, if I could be honest with you. Blossom says, I love how Hobby was playing the guitar. I would love to ask Chance if he was actually playing it when he was out there in the park, you know, when they're filming. Does he actually turn it on? Is he playing it and then they cover it later as they're in post-production sort of thing? I really want to know if that's him hitting those keys and really producing some music for us. I'm right there with you, Enrique. He says, I love the Stego Spike Dino Fury Megazord formation that I saw. Oh my God, I'm loving it. Yeah, was it like 2 hammers that he has in his hands? I'm not sure what it had, but they were literally in the cockpit, like punching and stuff, almost like it was a boxer. The spikes, the brand new head looks like a legit helmet, if you will. I thought it was great. I thought it was an unbelievable formation, to be honest with you. Sonny Shields, big fan of the episode. Also, really glad that you enjoyed it. AJ, such an incredible episode this week. The action sequences, both morphed and unmorphed, felt like a movie. So fast paced. Love the relationship with Javi and Izzy. Yeah, the brother and sister relationship continues to grow on me. The fact that it's Izzy that really knows so much about Javi like that, right? You know, if he's missing, it's 9 times out of 10 he's playing music or he's got stomach issues. But doesn't Izzy also have stomach issues? It clearly maybe runs in the family also, because I think Javi might have said something along those lines to Izzy also. Better out than in, am I right? And then, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I thought the second unit directors did a fantastic job. So shout outs to Yuji and Kenjo for an amazing morphing and unmorph sequences that we wind up getting. Adrian says, love the small details. Solon explains how the Zord was awakened while Javi was playing his guitar. Even Javi asked, which was a nice touch. We fans knew will ask. We know fans will ask anyway. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, like when Solon mentions the idea, like, oh well, the Zord was just here a minute ago and now it's sort of deactivated. I definitely was able to make that connection. Like, oh, it's when Javi was playing his music, it definitely wind up awakening it. So I love that Ollie was smart enough to go ahead and actually pick up on the reason as to why his Zord was awake in the first place. Another RIP. What's up, Sarah? Appreciate you coming through. RIP DMX. I accidentally jumped over one real quick that I wanted to highlight. Where did it go? I gotta catch up with all you guys, man. I thought I was like at the end of my comments, and then it refreshed on me, and then all of a sudden I lost it. Oh, here we go. Blossom. Javi really brought his A game in battle. Am I right? Yeah. I love his I feel like I've seen really Javi really impressive, man. I mean, even when he first came on board, when the Garcias came on board, him and Izzy were just whipping that ass. His technique for the shield boost sleeve I thought was brilliant. Also, yeah, he came to fight this week. DHR to Productions. What's up, DHR? I gave it a 3 out of 5 due to the father being an asshole, Javi's musical talent, and the J Borg. That's about it. Yeah, no, I definitely understand you. Yeah, Warden Buzzkill was, like I said, it was more like Warden asshole this week. I just could not stand him. Cannot stand them. You know, and it's crazy because I don't want to say it's crazy, but you know, it's just interesting to see different sides of people because you know, it's just literally giving Warden Garcia praise a couple of episodes ago for standing up, standing up to the monster that wind up attacking. You put that down. That's property of Pine Ridge. And like I love seeing him, you know, this human who's got no abilities having the balls to stand up to this monster. But then you see the way that he winds up treating his son in this episode. I'm just like, bro, why do you gotta be a piece of shit? Like, why do you got to treat your son like that? This is so disrespectful. Not even worried about his safety, complaining about the music that he wants to play, right? Like when it comes to music and art, like sometimes it takes people a while to find what it is that they love to play. And maybe the idea is he doesn't want to settle on one particular thing, right? Like it's okay to have so much musical talent inside of you that you literally can play almost any instrument that you want to. Like, damn, I wish I had that type of talent, right? So I just, you know, it's just interesting the mindset that Warden has towards his son. So I gotta know more about it. I do. And I don't mean to curse so much, guys. One, I think that's just the New Yorker in me. And two, you know, people piss me off sometimes. And when you treat people like that, yeah, sometimes you got to tell them off. I'm handsome. He says, Warden Garcia was a dick this episode. I understand, but come on. Reminds me of Anton Mercer from Dino Thunder, who disapproved of Trent's interest in art. What is thank you, I'm handsome. What is the idea of people like parents when it comes to art, right? Anton Mercer, Commander Shaw, Warden Garcia, all their kids are into art in some form or another. I guess they just look down on it like it's not going to get you anywhere in life. I hope that, like, I don't want to say I hope that's Warden Garcia's excuse, but I want something a little bit more thoughtful for that because I feel like that's always the excuse. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just find it interesting that when it comes to art, these parents don't give a shit. Like they really don't want their kids to go down that path. Shadow Nova Productions. Chance was at his A game this episode, acting wise. I gotta agree with you. I don't think they asked him to do too much, but to be able to, again, for somebody that doesn't have acting experience, for this to be your first episode where you're the focus, you know what I mean? To ask you to have some great lines, deliver some lines without emotion, with emotion, right? Yeah, I feel like he did a really good job. I was really impressed with Chance, and look, he's only going to get better, right? He's only going to get better from here because he's going to have that experience. He's going to get used to his, the remainder of his cast, understand his characters a little bit more. So I'm really excited to see Chance continuing to grow. But for his first spotlight episode, I thought he did a great job. We need to give Chance Perez that same energy that we gave Tessa Rao. You know what I'm saying? We got to give him that same type of energy for having an incredible episode. Johnny says the warden needs to quit being this way and be a supportive father to Javi. I hope he finds out that Javi is the Black Ranger, because I want him to apologize to Javi about his music and being a brother. I agree with you there, Johnny. The one thing that I will say is I am a little bit over the idea of parents finding out that their kids are Rangers and then everything is okay because you're a Power Ranger. Like, no, I want you to be okay with it because I'm your son, or because I'm your kid, right? So I hope that if there is a moment of Warden Garcia and his son figuring things out and working things out before that realization that my son is the Black Ranger. It's coming. That realization definitely is coming for sure. And I know Warden Garcia is going to feel like a complete jerk once that winds up happening. But I hope it's more or less Warden apologizing to his son because he realizes I've been a shitty father and a shitty parent towards you, and not just, oh, you're a Power Ranger, I really should forgive you then. You know what I mean? Like I just that's the one thing I'm hoping. I feel like it's probably going to be pulled off that way, and if it is, that's fine. I just feel like it's more impactful if there's an actual apology before even realizing that my son's risking his life to save people's lives. You know what I mean? AJ, Jane and Jay Borg once again did not bother me at all. They blessed really well this episode, and they didn't do random stuff. Jay Borg going underground at the end made sense. She is an android. I mean, that was probably the stuff that I was like, oh, here we go with the physical comedy again. Seeing her body turn around and drill down into the ground and hit that water main. I thought was pretty funny. But again, it is that physical aspect in comedy. But again, I don't mind it. It's coming towards the end of the episode, right? People are having a good time. Why not have a little bit good time also? But yeah, I can't remember the lady or the actress that plays Jay Borg, but she's got some of the best facial expressions. She really does. She's given Hunter Dano a run for her money when it comes to facial expressions this season for sure. Red is not a flavor. Why was Ollie wearing black on the Black Ranger episode? That's like wearing white to your friend's wedding. What are you talking about? Red is not a flavor. You know they wear their colors every episode. Like, I'm surprised people in Pirates just don't know that group. That's the Power Rangers. I mean, look at their color scheme, guys. Look, that's got to be them, right? But no, you know they're always going to wear their colors every episode, regardless if it's a spotlight episode on them. Power Rangers Legacy coming through says Javi playing the whistle flute thing reminded me of a lot of Zen Aku from Wild Force. This flute, which was his weapon to summon his Zord as a blade, very sounds alike. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's another great reference to the usage of instruments and music, sort of waking up Zords or using it in battle, if you will. That's a great callback, Power Ranger Legacy. Thank you for that. Lindsay, what's up, Lindsay? Thank you very much for coming in. I like the relationship of Javi and Izzy. Me too. I really am. Just the fact that they can pick on each other, right? We clearly see that they have like just they clearly know a ton about each other that we see them giving us insight to for the other Rangers and things like that. I love the fact that Izzy goes over and is like, "Ooh, sulking on the park bench. How original, bro!" Like the fact that they can have that type of fun with each other and just know how to approach each other when the other person is dealing with some stuff. I gotta agree with you, Lindsay. I really do love their relationship. It feels very natural to me. It truly does. Video DVD. This was another great episode, the first on More Fight since the premiere, and I hope to see why Warden Garcia is so bad with Javi and the music. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I really enjoyed this episode this week for sure. Really hit me in the heartstrings when it comes to Javi and his father sort of situation. You know, there is, while I never experienced anything quite like Javi certainly had, I will say, I was 10 years old when my mom wound up getting married to my stepfather. My father passed away at a very young age. I think it was about maybe 5 or 6, if you will. My mom dated after that, and single mom for the most part. Never really got into a marriage or anything like that after my father passed away. But when I was 10, she wound up actually getting married to my stepfather. That's still in our lives to this day. His name is Rick. We didn't have the best relationship to start off with. There was a lot of animosity from me, having been, my mom's, only guy in her life for like the longest time. You know what I mean? To see somebody kind of come in and change our lives in a certain type of way, as a young kid, that's there's a little jealousy towards it. There's a little animosity. You know what I mean? If you've kind of been through something like that. So I've had a stepfather before. Like I have a stepfather. I know what that's like to. Again, I don't know what Javi's relationship is with Warden Garcia, if that's his real father or if that's also a stepdad to him in a way. But like, our relationship between me and my stepfather wasn't the greatest either. There was always a lot of tension, him trying to understand how to communicate with me, how to, be a father, if you will, because he had never had kids before, right? And now you've got to be a father to this 10-year-old, if you will, right? So there was definitely a lot of friction in our relationship for years until I wind up getting a little bit older and started respecting him a little bit more and being more understanding and things like that. So I get the headbutting, but I've never experienced anything like Javi and Warden Garcia are certainly going through in here, right? Like the line of Warden at the park, complaining about music and having all these instruments and not settling on one. I'm like, bro, you're a jerk. That's a jerk move. But then when we see him later in the episode and he talks about the idea of like, well, why is Izzy hurt more than you are, right? Like, clearly you didn't protect her well enough. Like, bro, like what? Like, what? You're mad at me because I'm not hurt and Izzy is? Like, what? Like, that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. So there's gotta be something. Like, I wonder if I don't know what it is. I wonder if there's a jealousy aspect from Warden because he used to be he's not as musically inclined, or he always wanted to be. Maybe there's something behind the scenes with their mom, right? Maybe Javi is the mom's kid, and maybe I have no idea. And there's like animosity towards. I have no idea. I truly don't. But there's something there, and I hope it doesn't get brushed over and forgotten about this season. I hope it's something that we finally get the answer to, because to be able to tell your son that and to treat your son that way, you can't leave it like that. I got to know a little bit more. So hopefully we wind up getting that. So Rob says, looks like Javi is being made as a parallel to Robbie here. Even their names rhyme. Robbie, Javi. You might be right. You might be onto something there, so Rob, for sure. I mean, look, we've referenced the comparisons before in regards to other parents on the show that clearly disapprove of their kid when it comes to art. We got to change that. If you're going to disapprove of something, can it be something else? We get the idea of art being overutilized like that. Shadow Nova, he says, honestly, I hope Warden Garcia doesn't find out Izzy and Javi are Rangers. I think it'd be different since every season with parents have done it. You might be right there too, Shadow Nova. I would be open to that also. I really would be open to that also. Not everybody has to find out, right, that you're a Ranger. So I definitely get that for sure. JB says, what, that salty comment was pretty funny. It's like, why is he so salty? Oh, like potato chips. No, not that type of salty. At least potato chips are salty. You're getting along there, Zato. Slowly but surely. What's up, Kamen Rider 64? Appreciate you coming through today. Thank you very much. Adamba, what's up, Adamba? Did you know Izzy's full name is Isabella? That's right. Warden Garcia did reference her as Isabella. I'm wondering if for the character descriptions, did they refer to her as Isabella Garcia? I can't remember. If they showcased that or not. I figured that Izzy was probably short for something. Isabella, Elizabeth, right? I had no idea really. Santashi, thank you very much for certainly coming through. Santashi, thank you. Good to see you in here also. I'm not sure where you're from, but thank you very much for stopping by today. Hope you stick with us for the remainder of of the episode for sure. Tony Robinson's in the house. What's up, Tony? Thank you very much for certainly coming through. Enrique says, is the mid-season finale coming for Dino Fury? I do believe that's next week. We haven't had any other episode descriptions that were released as of yet, only up until episode 8. So I'm expecting episode 8 to be the final new episode until we hit hiatus. Red is not a flavor. Rest in peace, DMX. Sending out his I don't want to say well wishes, but definitely prayers to his family and well wishes to his friends and family for sure. Also, I'm sure that's probably difficult for them also. But yeah, I've been listening to DMX for the past 2 days, man. On my Facebook page, I've been posting some music videos of some of my favorite stuff of him. Yeah, I was a big fan of DMX back in the day, man. Let's see here. We got Shrushti. Shrushti, what's up, Shrushti? Did anyone notice that awkward dance that Zato did? Yeah, his little or whatever it was that he was doing back and forth. I mean, I'm sure Russell Curry got much better moves than that. Everybody else was definitely showcasing their rhythm and stuff. And poor Zato, like I think Zato was at least hitting the beat. I think he was at least hitting the beat a little bit. So I definitely will give him that for sure. But yeah, that's definitely a pretty funny dance. Shadow Nova says it's fitting that Javi Zord combination almost has boxing gloves, and Chance has experience with boxing. I had no idea that Chance knew how to throw down in the ring. Don't f with Chance Perez, then, man. You may not remember anything. You may go unconscious, bro. I had no idea. Zilla Punk, what's up, Zilla Punk? 27, 2007. Thank you very much for coming through, Zilla Punk, as always. And thank you I appreciate you guys for the condolences and stuff. Thank you. Oh, it looks like Adamba says it's Kai that has experience with boxing. Maybe they both do. I have seen Kai in a lot of his Instagrams and Twitter posts and stuff, him with the boxing gloves on for sure. So I definitely know he's been definitely training in, I believe it's like mixed martial arts. I believe he's been training in. I've been seeing him in the gym for sure, dropping down, getting back up to his feet, doing a couple of kicks and punches and things like that. So it definitely feels like he's been doing some sort of training. But yeah, he says Sarav even clarifies. He says, yeah, they both actually post have boxing videos on Instagram. So yeah, they definitely seem to be both experienced in it, according to Shadow Nova in here also. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've seen Kai with those gloves on, just like body shots as often as he can. I just watched him do it with the new Gold Ranger and Jordan Fite to sort of welcome him in, if you will, with a couple of punches to the gut. So yeah, they definitely clearly have some experience. But guys, that's going to do it here, at least for our Dino Fury talk. I'm sure we'll probably jump back into some things here for you guys also. But thank you very much for your comments and discussion when it comes to Power Rangers Dino Fury episode number 7, Stego Search. Shout out again to Chance Perez for an amazing job, guys. But with that out of the way, we will go ahead and transition over to some other topics, guys. And since I have everybody here again, if you continue to love our content, you love our reviews, hit that like button. It certainly does does go a long way. And if you guys are in fact interested in supporting our channel, again, we do have ourselves a Patreon account, patreon.com/A+opinions. Feel free to go ahead and show your support in any way that you certainly would like to. We have a ton of different tiers that you can certainly select from, all the way from a $1 tier to $5 tiers to $10 tiers, whatever you personally feel you can certainly help out with monetarily. It definitely does go a long way. You can see the list of different exclusives, early access stuff that you certainly will get as a member of our A+ Opinions Patreon page. And again, you get it not only for A+ More Phenomenal, but also our second page in A+ Hero Report as well. So audio versions of a lot of our shows. We're doing a Go Ranger reaction as of right now, which we dropped our Go Ranger episode 1 reaction for you guys earlier this week to celebrate the 45th anniversary of Super Sentai. We've got some Go Kaiger early access videos there as well. So definitely go ahead and check it out for yourself. See if you certainly want to go ahead and support the channel in any way. If you certainly cannot monetarily, definitely go ahead and continue to show your support by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. So again, A+ Opinions over on Patreon. All right, guys, let's go ahead and transition over to our next show, or topic, I should say. As of yesterday, Hasbro wind up dropping a brand new Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest, ladies and gentlemen. They do these every couple of months or so. Brand new reveals, showcasing all of their big IP that they have. Not only did they focus on Power Rangers, but they also focused on G.I. Joe, showcasing some brand new action figures before the Snake Eyes movie winds up being released, which is now being bumped to July. I think it was set to come out in October. They also focused a little bit on Transformers, announcing the idea that they have the final part of the trilogy for War of Cybertron that's going to be hitting Netflix pretty soon. We got that announcement from Transformers, and mind you, while I don't get me wrong, I definitely enjoyed what we saw when it comes to Power Rangers. The highlight of the afternoon was the Transformers panel, where we got the opportunity to see Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes from Clerks and, you know, Jay and Silent Bob and things like that, showcasing a brand new Optimus Prime toy, which I think cost like $500, $600, literally voice commands to go ahead and literally transform on its own. It's incredible. It's incredible. If you have not had the opportunity to check it out, please do yourselves a favor and do so. But for us Power Ranger fans, we definitely wind up getting some great information this week for sure. Whether you're into Lightning Collection or if you were just there for Dino Fury or just Power Rangers, I feel like we got a little bit for everybody. One of the first announcements that they did go ahead and let us know, you know, they have been talking about what they're going to be doing with past seasons for Power Rangers now that it's no longer on YouTube, or not now that it's no longer on Netflix. Where are these shows going to go? They have mentioned that they are going to be posting them on their Power Rangers Kids official page, if I'm not mistaken. They've already wind up dropping some of the episodes for Dino Charge. I'm not sure if all the episodes of Dino Charge are up there as of yet. So Dino Charge is up there, and now, guys, Dino Thunder is certainly coming also. This is from No Pink Spandex, saying it was announced at Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest today that full episodes of Dino Thunder will be uploaded to the main official Power Rangers YouTube channel. Oh, a main official page. Okay, I thought it was going to be under the kids one, but all right. The 2-part premiere is up there right now. So they have in fact posted episodes 1 and 2 of Dino Thunder. We might actually have ourselves a little bit of a watch along here sometime this week. So I'll definitely go ahead and keep you guys posted in regards to that, because I have been wanting to go back and revisit Dino Thunder, especially to commemorate another Dino season this year in Dino Fury. So we probably will be doing that, and I'll go ahead and keep you guys posted on when we do that Dino Thunder watch along. Not only did we get that also, guys, but we got to talk a little bit about the reveal, ladies and gentlemen. We wind up finally getting the announcement for our 6th Ranger, and that is, in fact, our Gold Dino Fury Ranger. Welcome to the team, Jordan. Fite. That's right, guys. We've been speculating for quite some time that Jordan Fite would in fact be the sixth Ranger. They've been announcing it ever since we were talking about, we definitely have had this speculation for quite some time, ever since they announced the speculative cast for Dino Fury in general, when we got our first official 5 announced. And Jordan Fite has kind of been nowhere to be found since then. But today, or I should say Friday, yesterday, was the day that this man finally got the opportunity to present himself to the rest of the world and Ranger Nation as the Gold Dino Fury Ranger. So he will in fact be our sixth Ranger, and mind you, another first for the season. Not only did we have a first female Green Ranger, but now we have our first African American Gold Ranger, or sixth Ranger, here for Power Rangers. And not only that, but this is also the first season that has had 2 black characters on at the same time, also in Zato, along with now Jordan Fite's character in Io, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's his name, Io. So a ton of firsts here. I mean, you want to talk about Simon Bennett and the crew paying attention and being very aware of trying to be inclusive and representative, and allowing diversity into this show. They've done a marvelous job so far. So this has been a season of firsts for sure, and I'm kind of curious if there'll be even more firsts as the season goes along. I have no idea, but I continue to love the growth that Power Rangers continues to show us each and every time. So I want to go ahead and share some things here with you guys real quick, because some of his words, because he did go ahead and talk a little bit about, he clearly came out and had some words to say for himself in regards to being a member of the team. So this actually comes to us from his Twitter handle, which I would recommend you guys go ahead and check him out. He's at JT Fite _. So he says, wow, I've been waiting a long time to finally share the great news. I'm truly glad to announce that I'll be playing Ion in Power Rangers Dino Fury as the Gold Ranger. Love you all. And then of course he's got his picture down there as well. This kind of stuff always fascinates me, guys, because clearly he was in New Zealand like this entire time. Or at least for a majority of the time. I feel like I don't know if he came down at the same time as the cast and crew, or if he came down a couple of weeks later. But it's amazing to me, once Jordan Fite was in fact revealed in here, if you go to everybody else's IG page, on the team, now they start uploading all their pictures of Jordan Fite and his inclusion and all their trips that they're going on. Like, they have to be super mindful, I'm assuming, when they're taking pictures for their own Instagram pages, like not to reveal that, hey, maybe right behind me taking this picture is Jordan Fite, or maybe I literally cut Jordan out of this photo because he was a little bit to the right this whole entire time. Like, can you imagine being a part of the Power Rangers, getting to enjoy filming and experiencing a whole new country for the very first time, going on trips and just all that stuff, and not being able to share it with anyone? I mean, God, I don't know if I could. That would be so frustrating to me, that it would just be ready to boil over, and just be so enthusiastic when I can just be honest and real and upfront with people. Like, this is what I've been doing the past couple of months. This is where I've been the whole entire time. So I'm glad that Jordan Fite is now getting to feel that sort of sense of inclusion also, if you will, and letting everybody know, like, hey, don't leave me out. I've been here the entire time, guys. I promise. They just haven't been able to show me in anything. So when he says, I've been waiting a long time to finally share the great news, I'm sure he has. I'm absolutely sure he has. And another person that also has been trying to waiting to share that news, not just Jordan Fite, but also Hunter Deno. Also, this comes from her account. She says, what a day it is. My best friend and best travel buddy can finally announce he's the Dino Fury Gold Ranger. I can't express how much you complete our family. You bring a light to set that we were missing. Hey, Ion, it's morphing time. So yeah, I don't know if Hunter Deno and Jordan Fite have known each other prior to Power Rangers, if they're very familiar with one another. I mean, listen, Jordan Fite, a big TikToker. I think I think he's got like over 1 million followers and things like that. So people are probably very much familiar with who Jordan Fite certainly is if you're on TikTok. So I am wondering if Hunter Deno and him knew each other prior, or maybe he's just become a best friend and a best travel buddy ever since he wind up sort of showing up. But I love seeing the enthusiasm from the rest of the cast and crew to go ahead and want to experience this with him and just being so thrilled for him. This is actually the video that they played at Hasbro Pulse to introduce Jordan Fite. Let's take a look. Look at this man's swag. Man, they killed that morphing time. They killed that morphing time together, didn't they? But you can just clearly see the enthusiasm level for everybody, right? They've been hanging out with this guy for a while. They clearly know his personality. I mean, you see the swag that he winds up walking in with into the command center. Even Russell is laughing. Like you can even watch him in the video. Like when he turns to the side, like you can see like the exasperated laugh that he winds up, kind of big smile on his face that he winds up giving. Like, you know, he's just like, this guy's a damn fool. And Jordan Fite just kind of comes in and introduces himself. I do think he's gonna add something to the season, and I hope that his personality, off of set, definitely carries over into his character. So I'm really interested to see what Jordan Fite's going to bring to us as the Ion character. You know, with a name like Ion, it definitely makes me wonder, like, is he an alien, right? Is he also from Ravcon? Do him and Zato certainly have a past connection with one another? I'm really eager to see where Io certainly comes from. But again, I think the one thing that really continues to jump out at me is just the level of enthusiasm that the other Rangers certainly have. And if that's going to help bring their performances up even more, knowing that they have a fellow friend and somebody that they definitely get along with that's going to be on the opposite side of them, I'm really eager to see what that's going to do for just the chemistry of the team, certainly going forward. So I'm looking towards big things here. Now, when it comes to the Sixth Ranger and Canalo from Real Soldier, his main motivation really was the idea of trying to find a wife, right? I mean, this was a guy who was a sucker for love, just wanted to meet the prettiest woman and would fall so easily in love with every person that he wound up meeting, right, to like an annoyingly obnoxious level to a certain extent. And, I'm sure the purpose of that was to continue along with his Real Soul tribe, you know what I mean? To go ahead and help it continue to grow, if you will, pass on that legacy even further. But sometimes Canalo was just very much in your face. If you were a woman, you had to watch out. You had to watch out because he was going to flirt with you. He was going to just try something, right? So I am kind of curious as to what Jordan is going to bring as Ion. Are they going to ask for the same thing for him? Is he going to come at people a little bit differently? Is he going to be more of that comedic aspect of this season? I'm really fascinated. But guys, we finally have ourselves a Gold Ranger here in Dino Fury, and that is in fact Jordan Fite. So definitely go ahead and follow him on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok if you can. Definitely go ahead and send him your well wishes if you certainly have not. His congratulations. So I'm really eager to see when we see him. Will that be next week's episode? Who certainly knows? But we definitely will see kind of going forward. But that definitely was one of the other announcements that we wind up getting here this week. Let's see here. What else did they talk about? Oh, also, I think this photo came out from No Pink Spandex as well, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember where I got this from. Yeah, there we go, right in the bottom corner. NPS, No Pink Spandex. They recently did reveal a ton of photos of the Power Rangers in costume without their helmets as promotional work, and they wind up doing the same here for Jordan Fite also, and finally putting the team together, if you will. So this is our core. This is our core 6 as of right now, going forward, and I'm really eager to see what they do together on screen, to be perfectly honest with you guys. So great time to be a Power Ranger fan, I tell you that much. And I'm sure it's a great time to be Jordan Fite as well. So it seems as though he's getting along really well with everybody. Next up, guys, in regards to Hasbro Pulse that came out of that, if you guys are big into action figures, well, guess what? The Lightning Collection. The Lightning Collection definitely got some love this week. I don't necessarily know if they categorize this as a particular wave, if you will. But if there is a wave, maybe a metallic wave, maybe that's what they want to call it as. A couple of months ago, they did reveal a metallic MMPR pink. I believe it was with Cat, if I'm not mistaken. Looked magnifique. It looked gorgeous. While I don't have the figure, I probably would pick up some of these glitter MMPR figures. So I think they just look stellar. But we got a reveal this week of additional characters that are going to go ahead and actually be brought to the Lightning Collection to further enhance that glitter team, if you will. So we did have our Power Ranger hosts that certainly came through. The lovely Loretta Masters as the product designer, as always. Could never get tired of her, to be honest with you. But she wound up revealing to us a couple of new shots here for metallic yellow. This is actually Aisha. She's even got the freaking braids going on in her actual head sculpt, if you will. So we got to see metallic yellow introduced. We got metallic Billy. The glitter definitely is a little bit more difficult, I feel like, to see out of this photo. They said that they didn't have any official photos ready at the time, but I think they might have actually released some of them as of the other day. We also have the metallic Black Ranger in here with Zach. Oh, I think this is actually Adam, if I'm not mistaken. But this looks great, if you ask me. I love his power axe with the the effects that are coming out of it. And then, of course, we've got Rocky's here as the metallic Red Ranger, which I'm loving this one, to be perfectly honest with you also. Yeah, I've been really impressed with the metallic Red Ranger, or the metallic set that we've gotten so far. And I am looking forward towards the other official photos where we actually have these figures with backgrounds. You know what I mean? Really professionally done is what I'm looking for. So this is a group of what the entire team looks like without their helmet on. But we also wind up getting the reveal for a red Tyrannosaurus Sentry from the Coinless universe as well. Loretta Masters showcased this action figure off for us as well. And it looks clean, man. It looks fantastic. So if you were big fans of wanting to get more of these Sentries, or seeing if they were going to dabble in sort of that Lord Draken universe a little bit, Hasbro certainly is taking a ton of their stuff over from Boom Studios and creating some fantastic stuff that they have so far. So red Tyrannosaurus Sentry, and of course the remainder of the metallic MMPR group. And again, they did already sort of release sort of the Pink Ranger already as well. So let me see if I believe that they are available for pre-order right now. They are all available for pre-order, so you can probably find them on Amazon or whatever the case may be. So definitely go ahead and check them out if you are interested in picking them up as of yet. And then again, Loretta Masters, yes. Let's see here. But look, I'm not the biggest Lightning Collection fan or action figure fan. I do want to I feel like for me, I'm not if I were to be a collector of action figures, I don't know if I would collect everything. I feel like when it comes to these action figures, I would definitely pick and choose who I certainly like, which characters I definitely would like to have, would like to get for myself. But yeah, I do continue to love the work that all the product designers and everybody continues to do over at Hasbro. But if you guys are big Lightning Collection fans, what do you guys think about some of the sculpting, some of the molds that they've come up with? Again, I think some of the headshots too. All these people look like their characters, honestly. Like Rocky looks like freaking Steve Cardenas over here. You know, Adam looks like freaking Johnny Bosch. Like it's pretty crazy, man. I think they do some really great jobs with some of the face molds in here too. So really impressive work, guys. Really impressive work. So let me know your levels of enthusiasm for this metallic wave, if you will, of Dino Fury collection. So again, Lightning Collection, Dino Thunder coming to the official Power Rangers YouTube channel. Jordan Fite as our Gold Ranger stuff, some as our Gold Ranger for Dino Fury. So some great announcements overall when it comes to Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest. One little side note here. I did want to throw up as just a side note of things that happened this week. Power Rangers, I think Nickelodeon was having a tournament or having fans vote on like the best show on Nickelodeon. And they had several rounds over the past couple of weeks. I remember liking and sharing a ton of these votes and things like that. But it seems like it came down to Dino Fury and another show, but the Ranger Nation came together, man, and we voted, and Power Rangers Dino Fury won as one of Nickelodeon's best shows on their network, which is kind of crazy considering the fact that they kind of licensed the show, but they don't even really produce it, right? Like it's not a Nickelodeon produced show, and so I'm really hoping that the fact that Power Rangers Dino Fury won is maybe an acknowledgement to Nickelodeon, like, hey, can we have some damn promotion now? Like everybody loves our freaking show. Can you maybe push our show a little bit more considering its popularity and how many people actually do kind of watch your content, watch this content on your network? So maybe this will be a eye opener for Nickelodeon and saying, you know what? Hey, people voted. Dino Fury is clearly the best. Let's maybe push their show a little bit more. Maybe that's me holding my breath. I have no idea, but I am intrigued to certainly see where it goes, if it has any improvement on how Power Rangers is promoted over there. But we'll definitely go ahead and keep you guys posted. And last but not least, at least in regards to Power Ranger news, we did have ourselves also a preview for episode number 8, which I was actually kind of surprised that we got previews back to back. I thought this week was going to be mostly all episode 7 previews, and then next week, we would start getting that episode 8 trickling out. But I guess they wanted people to start talking already, and talking we certainly have. We got 8 preview for you guys here, like a 2 or 3 minute clip, if I'm not mistaken. But good old Mick Canic comes back, not mechanic, Mick Canic coming back here in next week's episode, as he's clearly on the hunt, according to the preview, for the Nexus Prism, guys. That's right, Ninja Steel references are coming next week. So how much of a worry does that put people in? We'll certainly have to see. Does it give me any hesitation? You bet it does. But you know what? I've been so impressed with how Dino Fury has handled everything this season so far. Maybe with the exception of maybe like one episode that I felt was like kind of cringy dialogue wise, a little bit, but still overall solid episode. I would be interested to see how they tackle Ninja Steel references in Dino Fury, right? How big of a role is Mick going to play this entire season? What's the impact of the Nexus Prism? He even references in here that he's been around the galaxy, that he's bumped into like 40 other Ranger teams that he's taken selfies with. So his time away from Ninja Steel, or since that season, has been well utilized, to say the least. And so he's been on this journey to try and find the Nexus Prism, and it's landed him here in this particular galaxy. So what's that connection to Dino Fury? I certainly have no idea. But what I will say, first off, Kelton can do no wrong, to be honest with you. As much as I was not the biggest fan of Ninja Steel, Mick was definitely one of my favorite aspects of the show. So if Mick wants to come back and we have the writers that are telling much better stories than they were in Ninja Steel, I'll be open. I'll be open for sure to see what they want to go ahead and give to me. But I do find it fascinating from the preview alone, Zato's reaction. Zato is deadpan, no expression, looks pissed, looks like he doesn't trust Mick, looks like, why are you here? We don't need this right now. He seems like he's really trying to be very dismissive of Mick in this preview, and I'm wondering where that's coming from. Have they bumped into each other before? You know what I'm saying? Like, is Zato just in that mindset of, we're on the mission, we can't be distracted sort of thing, or is there more to it? I also wonder if this is the only unexpected guest that we're going to see. Could we get Ion in here also, that winds up popping up sort of last minute. You know, we did just get introduced to him. Maybe this is their way of introducing him before he winds up being premiered in episode 8 also. So could we have 2 unexpected guests into this season? Or is Jordan Fite's premiere going to be when we return from hiatus? But regardless, Mick is definitely popping up by the end here before we go into hiatus, and I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it. So it's great to have you back, Kelson, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with your character. And keeping my fingers crossed, please don't screw this up, guys. Please don't screw this up, because Ninja Steel just left so many people with a bad taste in their mouth, and I feel like we've been trying to wash it out with Beast Morphers and Dino Fury a little bit here, that I just hope that we don't go back to our same levels of storytelling once that comes into play. But again, based off of everything that I've seen from Dino Fury, I have a lot more confidence going into this episode than I did at the beginning of the season before I even watched episode 1. You know what I mean? So I am looking forward to seeing what they do with them, and to really showcase to us, like, hey, maybe a lot of the problems were Saban back in the day. You know, now that we have this creative handcuffs off, we can tell the stories that we certainly need to, but we'll have to see there. But let's go ahead and make this transition, guys, real quick into our Tokusatsu news for you guys today. I'm trying to bring something up here also, if I can. Give me a minute. No, I guess it's not under there, huh? Oh, it might be under here. So yeah, let's go ahead and transition into some Tokusatsu news, because as of last week, guys, you know, I believe it's actually as of today. This was supposed to be Kamen Rider week from April 3rd, which was last Saturday, all the way to April 10th, which is in fact today. So even after we gave some announcements in last week's episode of APlus Morphinominal, understand that they definitely dropped a ton of other announcements throughout the remainder of the week also that we want to go ahead and talk with you guys about. And so when it comes to the world of Kamen Rider, let's go ahead and dive in and see what they gave us, man. So one of the other announcements we wind up getting is that Kamen Rider 01, along with Ryuki, which I believe was adapted here in the States as Dragon Knight, they're actually coming to North America. So both of those seasons will in fact be coming over to America, the original Ryuki instead of Dragon Knight. We're going to get the opportunity to go ahead and see it here in the States itself. Let's actually go over to this article here and really get a better understanding as to what we're getting, how we're getting it, where we're getting it, type of stuff. So let's go ahead and talk about this a little bit. So it's a big year for fans of Japanese fantasy action and TV. Not only is 2021 the 55th anniversary of the Ultra series, it's also the 50th anniversary of Kamen Rider, as well as the 45th anniversary of Super Sentai. I just plugged that in myself. While both shows started making their way to North America audiences in a big way over the past 18 months, Ultraman has had its bigger deluge of content, but that's about to change. During the special Kamen Rider 50th anniversary panel, Shout Factory Tokusatsu, their particular arm in TokuSHOUTSu, announced that 2 more Rider series will be making their way to streaming this year, and one of them will get a physical media release. So here we got Kamen Rider 01 coming soon. Oh shit, that got me in my ear. Sorry guys, that's loud. So they gave us a little bit of a commercial here, huh? Ooh. So that's coming to us for sure. So I'm really looking forward to that. But it says the news comes about a year after TokuSHOUTSu debuted the original 1971 Kamen Rider series and then the 2000 reboot in Kyuga on Shout Factory TV and its various channels on streaming. Now joining those in the 2002 to 2003 series, you've got Ryuki, and now you've got 01. They also announced physical media rights to 01 also, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. So it's coming soon, guys. I love this poster that they wind up putting together. Pluto TV, for you guys who don't know, Pluto TV is an app and it is free. I actually have Pluto TV on my phone. and on my TV also. Every once in a while, I'll definitely will go to TokuSHOUTsu and see what kind of Tokusatsu stuff they actually have playing up there. So, if you are interested in catching some of this material, Pluto TV is not going to cost you anything. Definitely go ahead and check it out so you can at least have access for yourself. It says, we've seen a tremendous reaction to the Kamen Rider shows on Shout Factory TV. We're so delighted to partner with Toei to build the North American fan base. And with Zero One, we will now have the premiere series for each of the 3 eras of the franchise. So yeah, man, big things are certainly coming when it comes to Kamen Rider in general, man. But I thought that announcement was relatively great because for me, while I haven't finished Kamen Rider Zero One, it is one of the Kamen Rider series that really impressed me for what it was, and one that I definitely want to go back and finish and watch. So if it's not watching it on TokuSHOUTsu, so again, guys, coming soon this year, Kamen Rider Zero One and Ryuki will be coming to North America. If it's not on TokuSHOUTsu, that I'm going to be watching it. You know where I will be watching it? Can you say maybe Blu-ray form? That's right, guys. We're actually getting physical media from Shout Factory also in regards to Kamen Rider Zero One. It says it's being released domestically by Shout Factory. The announcement came during the Team Kamen Rider stream with Shout Factory to kick off the beginning of North America's week-long celebration of the 50th anniversary. It says Ari from Shout Factory stressed patience. This release is not coming next week, not next month, or the month after. The release will likely occur in 2022, but Shout Factory has licensed Kamen Rider Zero One for DVD and Blu-ray release in North America. Now, it was not mentioned whether or not the release would be DVD or Blu-ray. Seeing as Kamen Rider Zero One was filmed recently and in high quality, Blu-ray is possible and very likely. So, no release date yet, and this was I don't know if this is going to be the actual cover for the set or not, but they did mention in the previous article that we just read that Shout Factory did purchase the licensing rights for actual physical media. So this is definitely what they're referring to in the sense of giving it to us in DVD or a Blu-ray release, and I would be there for it. This is definitely a collection I would love to certainly have for myself, to be honest with you. So if anything, I would assume it's coming to TokuSHOUTsu a lot sooner than actual physical media. So again, check out Pluto TV, check out TokuSHOUTsu if you certainly have not had the opportunity to do so yet. But yeah, Kamen Rider Zero One certainly making some waves, to certainly say the least. So I'm really eager, man. I'm really eager to see everything that they're going to be giving us when it comes to Kamen Rider. I think this has been a great week for somebody like myself that hasn't really been that invested in Kamen Rider, to see everything that they have planned for here in North America and to see Toei making that push. It definitely does get me even more excited and really makes me want to start watching some of these series that they're referring to, like Kamen Rider W. Looks pretty interesting to me. Also, I may go back and just watch that series just to get ready for the Fudo Pie. I think it's an anime series that they're going to be making, the official sequel to Kamen Rider W also. So big things are certainly coming from Tokusatsu in general here in North America. Could Super Sentai be next? You know what I mean? Like, could they, I'm wondering if that's something that they would dabble in because of the fact that we have Power Rangers so focused on, right? Like, I wonder if they're going to wait till the 50th anniversary of Super Sentai to maybe start bringing that over. Like, I am kind of curious, like, if Hasbro does continue down this path of really trying to make Power Rangers more original and more unique and rebooting it and reimagining it, if and again, that's it, if they do separate from Toei and do their own thing, is Toei going to push forth how they've done with Ultraman and Kamen Rider? Will they try and put Super Sentai here in North America also? I would be really fascinated to see what that push, if any, certainly would look like. So keep your eye on Toei, guys. They're making big things when it comes to here in North America, which I find interesting. Like they seem to be very tight when it comes to how they let other people talk about their content, right? I feel like if you're a YouTuber and you deal in tokusatsu or toei, things like that, I feel like you have to be kind of mindful of what you say, or at least what you post or what clips you post, because toei will come out and strike that ass with no problem whatsoever. So I do feel like they're a little bit, they want to keep their intellectual properties or their IP a little bit closer to the chest than most other places. So I do find it interesting that now they're becoming a little bit more open with sharing some of their own properties and stuff here with the U.S. and North America and things like that. So maybe they'll loosen up that leash a little bit. You know what I mean? To some of us creators out here who are just trying to bring eyes to their content, like we have been for years, to get people enthusiastic about the stuff that they continue to do over there in the East, or what, the West. Are we considered the East of them? I don't know, over in Japan. So we'll see. And speaking of which, our last topic that I want to go ahead and wrap up with before we get into your live viewer questions, guys, April 5th of this year, earlier this week, was in fact the official 45th anniversary of Super Sentai. Can you believe it? April 5th, I believe it's April 5th is when we wind up actually getting the first episode of Go Ranger revealed to us. I've been loving Go Ranger so far. For those of you who do not know, over on our Patreon page, we do have an exclusive Patreon video that we do every week. We do 2 reaction videos a week as we're going back and revisiting Go Ranger. That's right, guys. It's been fantastic to kind of go back down memory lane a little bit, visiting the 70s, if you will, with our very first Super Sentai team. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to experience Go Ranger, to celebrate the 45th anniversary this year. So we are definitely doing our due diligence to go ahead and highlight it. Again, we do have a Go Ranger episode 1 reaction available to the public on our site, on our YouTube page. If you want to check it out, definitely go ahead and do so. But if you want to follow us along as we go through the entire series, definitely go ahead and join our Patreon for that. But for me, while I personally have not watched every Super Sentai season that's out there, my first introduction to Super Sentai anniversary, or Super Sentai in general, was another anniversary season, the 35th anniversary, and that is in fact Gokaiger, which again, we're also doing reaction videos for Gokaiger on our Patreon page as well, as early access videos too. So I guess we're really just enjoying just the anniversary seasons here at APlus Morphinominal to really celebrate. But I've loved the perspective that it's kind of giving me since becoming a Super Sentai fan, being able to see just the differences between not only how Japan does their stuff, but how we adapt their content here in the United States. And I just have a love for the passion and just the attention to detail that some of these Super Sentai seasons have really done. Die Ranger for me is one of my favorites. TokuSHOUTsu's up there with one of my favorites. Gokaiger clearly, Go Busters clearly, Kara Majors left a lasting impression on me also. Those are probably like my top 5 that I have so far out of watching them. But I've watched a couple of other ones also. Clearly watching Zenkaiger right now. Didn't get the opportunity to check out Q Ranger. Dabbled a little bit in Zoozer also. Kyuryuger, I believe, is a season I dabbled in a little bit, maybe the first 10, 15 episodes or so also. But I love their approach to telling their stories and just all the various themes that they've had over the years. And even going back to the early 70s for Go Ranger, to kind of see where Super Sentai originally started and where it is today. The growth is just absolutely immense. I just think it's really difficult for anything to stick around and have relevancy for 20 years, let alone 45 and 50 and 55 years, right? Toby clearly is doing something that is clearly become a part of their culture and has impacted millions of people. Like for me, one of the great things that I love about Super Sentai is the inclusion that they have in regards to allowing other generations of Super Sentai team members come back and have cameos and still want to be included in storylines and specials and movies and things like that, right? There's just an incredible love that they have, and it really shows each and every time. This is a big part of their culture over there, and I absolutely love it. I truly do. So yeah, guys, I don't know how you have been expressing your Super Sentai anniversary this year, but if you guys want to go ahead and check out, listen, we've got a ton of Tokusatsu content on our page. We definitely have some movies that you guys can certainly go ahead and check out. The 199 Great Hero Battle is up on our page. We also have the review for the 4-part miniseries Super Sentai Strongest Battle also up there. A couple of other watch alongs for you guys to enjoy. I think we have a Go Buster versus Go Kaiger movie watch along or reaction for you guys there as well. So really have been a really big fan of Super Sentai. You know, as much of a Power Ranger fan as I certainly am, I really do appreciate that more adult style of storytelling. You know, not every season is definitely like that. You know, when you look at Zenkaiger, while it definitely focuses on some impactful themes, it can be a little chaotic and humorous and things like that, right? So every season definitely comes at you certainly differently, but I have always appreciated the at least the more mature aspects of Super Sentai that it definitely has had over its years. But yeah, man, I will say this, you know, a Super Sentai is going to continue along regardless of Power Rangers uses their footage or not. And I'm eager to see where Super Sentai goes, its growth, and if it is splitting from Power Rangers and Hasbro in any way, I really would love to see Super Sentai continue to push that envelope. You know, we're finally getting into a new era here, the Reiwa era for Japan. So we've had Kamen already and Zenkaiger, both seasons, if you ask me, have felt rather unique in their own right, and I really hope that going forward they continue to push those boundaries for Super Sentai along the way, because it definitely has left an incredible impact, and you need that shakeup from time to time to be as relevant as Super Sentai has been for 45 years. I mean, if you guys have not had the opportunity to tackle anything Super Sentai, but you've always been fascinated, do yourselves a favor, man. Go ahead and check out some of the stuff if you can. From Go Kaiger, I would recommend. Karamasia, I would recommend. If you want to go back even older stuff, the iRanger is a great season. I mean, just pick a season that maybe was one of your favorites in Power Rangers and check out its counterpart in Japanese. And I think you know, not everything is the best, but you know, for me as a first time viewer, my first series was in fact Go Kaiger, and it just kind of opened up my world to all the other seasons and made me interested in wanting to go back and maybe dabble a little bit in those past seasons also. So I always thought Go Kaiger was a great launching off point for some people, for newcomers. But and just had me asking a ton of questions in regard, who's this? Ooh, who's that? That's kind of cool. They have a cool personality. Ooh, oh, that's how they got involved. Okay. And you know, asking yourself a bunch of those questions or having those questions definitely makes you interested to see what those seasons were certainly about. So 45 seasons of Super Sentai. Clearly they're doing something right, guys. So definitely go ahead and check them out and continue to show your support for Tokusatsu in general as we continue to push forward, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I'm definitely going to continue to celebrate my anniversary or Super Sentai's anniversary all season long, because it's funny. I know when I first started tackling Go Ranger, one of the things that I realized was I thought originally it was only like 50 episodes. You know, like every season of Super Sentai it feels like has been around 50 episodes or so. And then I wind up checking out one day, like the episodes list, and it's like 84 episodes. I'm like, damn, I'm going to be here a while. I'm going to be here a while. But it's a journey that I definitely have been enjoying and definitely has given me a much more appreciation for a lot of the older Super Sentai stuff out there for sure. And I'm sure, again, once we wrap up Go Ranger, once we wrap up Go Kaiger, we are going to be moving on to other Super Sentai seasons as well, guys. So if you want to jump on board with us, definitely go ahead and check out our Patreon page. Again, patreon.com/A+opinions, patreon.com/A+opinions. Go ahead and check out the tiers and see if anything certainly fascinates you guys. All right. And I think with that out of the way, that wraps up all of our stories for the day. So if anything, I'm probably going to go ahead and jump into your guys' live viewer questions and see what some of you guys are saying. JB says, what says, I need to get some merch to support my boys, Zato and Aeon. Yeah, if you do, man, check out Carson's Corner. Again, if you guys are wondering where I got this sweet ass Izzy t-shirt from, I also got a Zato t-shirt also on the back. Oh, if you guys haven't seen on the back too, it's got the helmet. It's got the face also. So definitely go ahead and check it out if you can. Carson's Corner, guys. All right, let's see here. AJ says, Super Sentai back in the day was very violent, just me, but I feel the series went lighthearted during Kara Major and now Zenkaiger. I wouldn't, well, I would agree with you to a certain extent, AJ. Like, definitely very violent. They definitely don't mind cursing. It's definitely a lot more mature, if you will. There are a ton of seasons that I can go through that carry that over. I wouldn't want to say the lightheartedness started with Kara Major and Zenkaiger. You can actually start seeing it lighten up as you go through some of the seasons. Like for me, you know, Go Busters definitely had some blood, definitely had a couple of curse words. Go Kaiser certainly did, also much more mature. Maybe it was like Kyryuger, you know, that eventually turned into Dino Charge, Zoosier, you know, with the animals from other planets and stuff like that. I feel like maybe Q Ranger kind of, or a Kyryuger kind of maybe started that a little bit more lighthearted aspect of Super Sentai kind of going forward a little bit, but it's a mixed bag, right? Like I think Car Ranger, some people were like, that's over the top comedy type of thing, right? So I'm sure it kind of it kind of changes over time. But so I wouldn't say Kara Major and Zenkaiger were the first to kind of do it, but it's definitely along that lighthearted route for sure, for sure. Adrian says, my brother Adam, what did you think of when you watched the first Super Sentai series? Did it feel weird going back in time, seeing all the old visuals and fashions? Absolutely. It definitely did. If you watch my episode 1 reaction for Go Ranger, one of the things that I say is, you know, I have to almost rewire my brain a little bit. You know, I'm so used to current technology and storylines and special effects and things like that, that when you go back to the 70s, it hits you, it punches you in the face like, oh, okay, you know, you have to kind of go back into that mindset. Not that I was around during the 70s, right? But you have to have a little bit more understanding of what this season is presenting it to you, right? Like I can't hold it up against Kara Major, you know what I mean? I just can't. You have to look at it in its own sense. And so far it's been pretty fun. I definitely have enjoyed it. Not the best season in the world. There are some episodes that definitely up and down, some hits and misses for me, some really strange storyline concepts, decision making by some of our characters. You know, some things that I definitely do question about the series itself. But there are some episodes that are really great and really fun to watch, and some really great character moments. One of my favorite characters right now is probably Momo Ranger, aka or Peggy, aka Momo Ranger, the Pink Ranger in here. Really love her as a character. My other one, definitely Aqua Ranger, who hasn't really had too much of a personal impact onto the series as of yet. He's very much the leader in there, you know what I mean? But lately I feel like he's growing as a character, so I definitely have come around to him a little bit more. But there are aspects of the show that I certainly do appreciate, and some that can just clearly be cringeworthy to me. Like for me, I love the villains in here, Black Cross Army, the slaughter that they tend to do from time to time. Like it's not lighthearted. Like it's just not. It's definitely punch you in the face, and it's just a different time period back then, right? The soundtrack I'm a big fan of also. Yeah, it gets to me, man. It gets to me. But so yeah, it definitely has its ups and downs. Not a perfect season, but again, it's its first season, and it basing it off of its first season. There are a lot of aspects I've enjoyed, but there are times when it is difficult to sit through. Like I can't lie, in that regards either. All right, guys, let me Adrian says, wait, you weren't from the 70s? No, I missed it by a couple years, man. No, I was 82 at the very end of 82. Jerry, what's up, Jerry? Appreciate you coming through. You should check out Time Ranger someday because it's an amazing season. It's available streaming on Shout Factory. Thank you for the recommendation, Jerry. Yeah, that's definitely, considering that Time Force is one of my favorite seasons for sure. It's definitely one that I want to go ahead and check out for sure. So thank you very much for that recommendation. Yeah, I'm not quite sure where I want to go as of yet. I know after Gokaiger, I'm thinking to myself maybe Shinkenger, but I really want to. I don't know, there's so many damn seasons. I had no idea Go Ranger was that long, so I know I'm going to be on Go Ranger for a while. So we'll see. We'll see when I eventually move on from there. But let me go ahead and jump into your guys' live viewer questions because we do have quite some time. We do have quite a few, and I'm not trying to be here another 3 hours today. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and tackle some of this for you guys today. Jessica Friedman, this was from last weekend, I should say, on a Sunday. Would you like to see Power Rangers team up with another Marvel or DC superheroes? And would you like to see a new generation of Lightspeed Rangers mentored by Carter? So I believe that Power Rangers have maybe teamed up with Justice League before. I wouldn't mind an Avengers team up with Power Rangers. I think that would be pretty cool. So give me that. Would I want to see a new generation of Lightspeed Rescue mentored by Carter? Maybe not in live action form. I would take that in a Boom Studios one shot though, or comic book form. I mean, I would be cool to kind of see that. Maybe not live action, maybe animation or Boom Studios form though. I would be open to that. I'm handsome, dude. He said more of a comment. Did you know that the Dino Fury, that the Dino Thunder team up with SPD and Dino Thunder were supposed to be different than what we got? He says Disney got in the way with SPD during its entire run. The first team was going to have the 3 Dino Rangers brought to the future to be cloned and turn evil and then be killed by their clones in the year 2025. So that Dino Thunder would have never happened back in 2004. Interesting. But Disney thought kids were idiots and confused of having real Dino Thunder Rangers cloned, then killed and replaced. The following team was the same story, but this time the SPD team went back in time to stop Emperor Grum from changing the future. Yeah, I mean, I feel like anytime that you make a decision based off of the idea that you think kids aren't going to get it, I think you should give kids the chance. You know what I mean? Favorite weapon so far in a Dino Fury and Beast Morphers or any of the Dino Fury era seasons? Favorite weapons? I was always a big fan of the Quasar Saber, even though I didn't really like the season so much, or wasn't the biggest fan of the entire season. I did like those Quasars were freaking legit, man. They really were. From Dino Fury and Beast Morphers so far, I mean, I feel like weapons are so regular now. Like everybody has the same one. You know what I mean? I miss the days where everybody had their own different weapons. I will say that Mega Saber that Zato carries around in that cockpit, that's pretty awesome looking. I'm a really big fan of that. But I go back to like Zeo, where we had the blade that glowed, right? I think the Yellow Ranger had freaking nunchucks. I mean, come on, man. Like I do miss the days of original weapons for each individual Ranger. I mention this all the time when I watch Go Ranger. Aqua Ranger had a freaking whip, and I think it's Asuka had was it Mito Ranger? I believe it was the Green Ranger. He had a boomerang. Like, come on. Like, can I get the boomerang back too? Like, we're in New Zealand of all places. Nobody can have a boomerang. I thought for Dino Fury the dagger is pretty cool too. The dagger is pretty cool too. So I like original weapons, man. I like original weapons. Do you agree with most Power Ranger fans that Operation Overdrive was a really bad season, and why it gets so much hate? In my opinion, it actually did many things right. Even Saban seasons couldn't accomplish. I will say this. I've only watched Operation Overdrive season once, and it's mostly forgettable for me, honestly. It just didn't connect with me outside of the 2-part crossover event that we had with the return of Johnny Bosch and other remainder Power Rangers as well. Really enjoyed it, but honestly, outside of that, Operation Overdrive is rather forgetful for me. Let me see. Power Ranger Legacy has a couple of questions. Best or worst suit in Power Rangers? Oh God. I always thought from Samurai, the Gold Ranger, the Barracuda suit, I always thought that was fire also. I think Dino Fury's gold is fire also too. Man, I feel like all my answers are going to be Gold Rangers because the first other one that comes to mind is Jason, the gold, the Gold Ranger from Zeo was always fire also. Yeah, man. Some of the designs from Mystic Force continue to jump out at me, right? Like some of their night designs. I mean, damn. I mean, there's so many. There's so many. What made you stick to Power Rangers and Super Sentai more than Kamen Rider? And why do you think both franchises are beloved by so many, even though they have different demographics? Man, that's a good question. I don't know if I can answer it so much for Kamen Rider because I haven't really had the opportunity to sink my teeth in as to what appeals to Kamen Rider for so many people more than like Super Sentai or things like that. What made me stick with Power Rangers and Super Sentai more than Kamen Rider? I don't necessarily even know if it was. I will say this. My first attempt for Kamen Rider was years back. It was Kamen Rider Gaim, I believe it was, with the fruits, and the locking mechanisms and stuff. And I sat through the first couple of episodes, and it just could not connect with me. The pacing just felt off to me. I didn't get the appeal of the belts and the morphs and the fruit. And like I guess I just didn't understand the concept fully of what Kamen Rider was supposed to be, like what it represents, like why is there even a Kamen Rider in the first place? Like who created this concept and this idea? So I guess for me, it was always a disconnect for me immediately. I know Gaim is like some people's favorite seasons, but for me as an outsider looking in, as that being my first season, I was so confused. I had no idea what I was watching or why I should even care about these characters. And so for me, I just fell off of it and I never went back and bothered to watch it. All the suits I felt like as they got, and I wonder if it's a suit thing for me too. I wonder if, I felt like Kamen Rider suits tend to be really super and maybe sometimes over elaborate, where sometimes I look at the suits and I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? Like, is that an arm? Is that a leg? Is that a chest plate? Like, what am I looking at? Sometimes I feel like they can be overly detailed and elaborate. And so sometimes I wonder if maybe it's just a suit that appeals to me at first to kind of grab my attention, like Kamen Rider Zero, slick as like just clean. I love the Kamen Rider 01 costume, and that immediately piqued my interest. And I'm like, okay, we're in a brand new era for Tokusatsu in Japan. Let's see what they come out of the gates with. And for me, that really had an impact on me. I really enjoyed that season. Now, I just never finished it because of time and because it's just a full-time job, also a YouTuber. This Power Rangers site, YouTube isn't the only one that I watch, right? So I'm not only trying to keep up with current Power Rangers and current Super Sentai, but I'm also trying to keep up with older Super Sentai. And then also I've got a second YouTube page for Marvel and DC and Star Wars and movies, right? So I watch a ton of content. And sometimes I just don't have time to watch other series. So I think it's just a mixture of stuff that just, my first impression years ago just wasn't a good one. So it took me out of the season and I just didn't understand the reason for Kamen Rider. But as I've stuck with Tokusatsu over the years, it definitely has kind of grown on me. So I probably would watch it. As far as like why it's so beloved, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You know, maybe if I was part of the Japanese culture a little bit more, I would probably understand. But I just think it's attention to detail, the amazing themes that they have, the characters, right? I mean, they touch on a lot of pop culture stuff, probably over in Japan also, to kind of keep it relevant over time after all these years. Um, yeah, I don't. I think it's just imagination, you know, and the creativity that really goes into it. You know, everybody loves superheroes and we want to be able to see ourselves visually on screen. And so I don't think that's just here in the States when we watch Power Rangers. I think that's something that everybody in every culture kind of experiences. You know what I mean? So to be able to see yourself in that form as a superhero, and it being that closely related to your culture, yeah, I can see it being beloved by so many over the world for sure. Please rank your favorite female rangers from all time to now. Now I'm not going to do that legacy. That's too much. That's too much. That's like, I don't mind like, hey, name your top 3 type of thing, but when I got to make an all time list, yeah, that's a whole video in and of itself. So maybe one day legacy. Uh, Adrian's got a couple questions. Hey, Adam, if Hasbro were to adapt Zenkaiger for the 30th anniversary of Power Rangers, do you think it would meet the same fate as Turbo by using the over-the-top comedy like the monster suits and Zenkaiger suits instead of making all original Ranger suits for American viewers? I watched Turbo 2 months ago and gave it up after the original cast left the series in passing the torch. Do you think would meet the same fate as Turbo by using overtop comedy like the monster suits and Zenkaiser suits instead of making all original Ranger suits? So I will say this, you know, I I have been watching Zenkaiser. I have been pretty open about the idea that I've said, you know, I do think that Zenkaiger could be adapted into Power Rangers. Um, One, never say never. Anything is possible. And two, it really just depends on how much Hasbro wants to spend, because they will be spending a pretty penny if they wanted to do this for Zenkaiger. One, I don't necessarily want it as my 30th anniversary. I do want to save that for Q Ranger if any season is going to be adapted. I think Q Ranger would make a really fitting 30th anniversary as a nod to In Space. So I really would like to see that, honestly, over Zenkaiger. But yeah, if they were to adapt it, they would have to put a ton of money towards it. I think something in this past episode made me scratch my head and almost start doubting that myself. Like, could this even be adapted? Because you would have to create new suits, you know. The symbols, like the numbers of the seasons that they represent are on them. There's a lot of nods to certain things that maybe we haven't necessarily done here in the States, that Power Rangers would have to correct and kind of do in their own sense. So is it possible? Yes, but I feel like the more and more that I'm watching it, I find it unlikely. You know, I find it unlikely. Possible, but I find it unlikely. Do you like the Ninja Turtles crossover with Power Rangers in space, or was it ridiculous? It was ridiculous. And do you want to see other Toku show appearances on Power Rangers? I would be open to that. Yeah, I would definitely be open to that. But yeah, no, I looked at the Power Rangers in space and Ninja Turtle crossover is ridiculous. The show back in the day, that Power Rangers live, excuse me, that Ninja Turtle live action show was atrocious in its own right. Getting the opportunity to debut Venus for the first time, the female turtle. I don't necessarily think it was Venus that made it terrible. I just think that the show was just terrible in and of itself. So I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan. I wouldn't mind seeing them try to attempt to do it again, or at least in animation mode. I would be open for it, especially in animation, if we would get something like that, because I love the crossover that we got from Boom Studios and IDW. Was it last year or the year before? I think we wind up getting like a 4 or 6 issue miniseries. That was pretty epic in itself. And then you also say Super Sentai had its 45th anniversary this past week. How do you feel about Super Sentai lasting 45 years later? And do you think it's going to keep going? And what do you want to see that's brand new or callback to older Sentai series? I do want to see human villains, if they're going to be bringing some things back. Old school definitely had some actual humanoid villains, if you will. I do love that Kara Major brought back that classic helmet, like that classic mask, and then regular body. Like when I watch Go Ranger, that's very much a lot of what it is, right? You see the person's body form with like a cape, and then they've got the big old weird mask on. You know what I'm saying? So Kira Major's kind of already dabbled in that homage to classic Super Sentai stuff, but I would like to see more human elements in reference to the villains, like Yodana from Kira Major was a perfect example. I would love to see something along those lines. But I think Super Sentai will continue on. It'll definitely, if Ultraman and Kamen Rider can last 50 and 55 years, yeah, Super Sentai will definitely get at least a 55 for sure. Bank on it. Let's see here. Melissa Benoist loves bacon and sushi. That's AJ in the chat for sure. No one talks about this, but why is it that Joel, the Green Ranger, and Miss Fairweather from Lightspeed Rescue, the only couple in the history of Power Rangers where Joel was the only black guy to let the girl of his dreams to get the girl of his dreams with great buildup all season long, went on a date on screen and actually ended up getting married at the end of the series. Going on their honeymoon during the Time Force and Lightspeed Rescue crossover. Maybe we'll get that with Zato and Amelia. What do you think? I mean, that's a first off, you to go from Joel to Miss Fairweather and compare that to Zato and Amelia. I don't even know if that's in the conversation right now. Like, I don't even know if they've even given eyes to one another. Like, I know that there are some shippers out there between those two, but I'm not going to even get to that level of Joel and Miss Fairweather yet until we actually see some actual like evidence that there is interest there. You know what I mean? The only moment that I've seen that's kind of hearkened to anything was when Zato takes Amelia back to the command center and she like grabs his arm. But outside of that, I don't really even see a comparison. But I will say, I would love to see something along those lines again. I always love Joel trying to be that smooth talker and trying to really impress Miss Fairweather, right? Really trying to put his best foot forward sometimes, maybe a little bit overconfidence. But I love the fact that we were at least able to follow along with their relationship and see how that wind up growing between between those two for sure. So I would love to see that again. I truly would love to see something like that again. Again, I don't believe everybody needs to have a relationship on Power Rangers, right? Like, I would be okay if this season of Dino Fury had no relationship at all. But if they were to have something, I would like to see them expand upon a little bit more than the slight flirtation and are they gonna kiss type of thing, right? Like maybe some more mature showcases of relationships. You did ask a question about Fan Fest Friday, because I think you sent this before. Oh, what did you think of Hasbro Fan Fest Friday and surprises? First and foremost, Jackie Jennings, I believe her name was, the host. I love her. I think she's a great host. Some of the jokes I wonder who writes her material though. Some of the jokes can kind of fall flat or be a little bit cringy, but I do love her energy and her enthusiasm for all the content that we wind up getting. And the fact of having to do that kind of stuff live, no easy task. So shout out to Jackie for another fantastic hosting job for Fan Fest for sure. But nothing overly surprising. But I love what we saw. I was expecting Lightning Collection stuff. I mean, we've talked about it before. Was expecting a Gold Ranger reveal. I wasn't expecting them to reveal more Power Rangers on YouTube. So the Dino Thunder stuff I thought was pretty awesome as well. And of course, I don't necessarily sit down and watch these just for Power Rangers. That's the main reason I'm there. But I also love the Transformers and the G.I. Joe stuff that they wind up revealing. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. What do you think of episode 7 of Dino Fury in this series so far? And can you believe that we're getting closer to that annoying 6 months mid-season? Is it really 6 months? Mid-season hiatus. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. But I will say this, Dino Fury will have me come back, regardless of how episode 8 will land. I feel like they've done an incredible job. I think they've had some great episodes to some good, solid, enjoyable episodes. I haven't felt like they've had one that's just completely shits the bed yet and leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So I'm loving the consistency. The enthusiasm is there. I love visually what I'm seeing. Simon Bennett has mentioned the idea that they've got a ton of new people on the crew when it comes to special effects, maybe fighting, sound editing and mixing. I mean, you can visually see and hear just all the differences that you did in Beast Morphers or some of the other Neo Saban era stuff. Hasbro really has put their best foot forward. And I am kind of wondering what the budget of this season was. We saw Beast Morphers go from 20 million to 22 million in its second season. I am wondering if Hasbro put a little bit more money towards this, maybe 24, 25 million. I would be interested to see how they're approaching this show. But I've been impressed. I've been definitely impressed. And so, what they say is, time flies when you're having fun. You know what I mean? And the fact that we're already here for this Dino Fury hiatus next week after episode 8, it's sad to have to go off on a note like that. But, it definitely have given me hope to want to return for the second half of the first season. So I'm not really expecting well, there will always be a drop off. Okay. From a huge hiatus like that. But I'm hoping it's not as big of a drop off as, say, other seasons. Like for me, while I'm really excited to see Jordan Fite as the Gold Ranger, I would almost have Jordan Fite's debut as the Gold Ranger for that return episode. You know what I mean? To really build up that hype again, if you will. It's just really about how you execute it, though. But Dino Fury has been really impressive to me so far. Johnny Marrero, what's up? He's got a couple questions. What did you like from Power Rangers panel from the Pulse Fan Fest? My favorite is the Gold Ranger announcement. What did I like the most from the Power Ranger panel from Fan Fest outside of Loretta Masters? Probably the Dino Thunder reveal and Jordan Fite's reveal. I wonder if I just watched the Fan Fest just to see like what surprises we're certainly going to get. But I did like the Dino Thunder stuff and Jordan Fite's little swag walk through the command center. I thought was a great first impression, honestly. Are you happy that Dino Fury is the #1 fan voted show for Nickelodeon? Absolutely. Absolutely, man. It's a punch in the face to Nickelodeon. Like, that's what you get for not promoting us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're out here. We're being vocal. Nickelodeon, listen to us, man. You want more viewership? Promote this damn show. God, don't be so butthurt because you didn't come up with it. Anyway, what did you think of today's new episode of Dino Fury? I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. Clearly that room that Void Knight is in has everybody's interest, right? We saw a peek of it last week. We saw Boom Tower wondering what he's doing in there. He's been in there for hours, sort of thing. I heard somebody on Twitter mention that they hope that he's actually working on his shield on the inside in there, which would be really cool if he brought that shield into play there. But mucus continues to grow on me. It's like, ooh, you're gonna get in trouble. Like just that little kid aspect. I continue to love mucus, but no, for me, the spotlight is all on Chance Perez. I think we should give Chance Perez the same love that we showed Tessa Rao for her debut in here. I thought he did an incredible job for somebody who's not known for his acting. I thought he came out really great. To have to handle not only your musical talent, but also a great storyline and the divisiveness between you and your father, right? And expressing sort of that unapologetic dismissiveness of people and see him sort of in that funk, but having that great musical connection with his Zord. I mean, I really love what they did for Javi this week, and Bert Selling certainly coming through. Great action. I mean, the spike formation for the Megazord, the Zord battle itself, Bert Selling's incredible musical composition, the continued growth between the Garcia siblings, just seeing Izzy and Javi on screen together just feel so natural. I really enjoyed this week's episode. I really did. There really wasn't much to kind of take me out of this episode at all. So, yeah, I definitely was a big fan for sure. So thank you for the questions, Johnny. We got 2 more sets of questions here. Marcelino Vasquez says, last week I asked what your response to be. Last week I asked what your response to be to someone who says you shouldn't be too critical or harsh on the show. I thought I answered that. it's fictional, and at the end of the day, you shouldn't let it affect your personal life. And you answered on how you would be critical towards a show or a movie, but that's not why I asked it. I'm pretty sure I pretty much told you, I explained it. I wouldn't even give them the time of day. Like I wouldn't showcase that to them at all. He says, but that's not what I asked. What I was asking is, what would your response be to someone who says, don't let fictional media affect your personal life? I mean, that's not what you asked though, right? You said you shouldn't be too, what would you say if somebody says you shouldn't be too critical or harsh on a Power Rangers show? I said, well, my response would be, everybody has that right. Right? That's what I explained to you, that everybody has that right to be critical of a show. It's just depending on whether or not you come at it with a creative, constructive criticism, if you will. So yeah, I mean, everybody has a right to be critical. I mean, don't let it affect your, don't let fictional media affect your personal life, aka someone who thinks that you let Power Rangers affect your relationship with your girlfriend, education, or career. Someone who thinks that you can't separate fact from fiction. That's what I meant. See, that's completely different, Marcelino, than what you asked me last week, man. So what I would say to those people, one who's, because I feel like those are two completely different things. You shouldn't be too critical or harsh on Power Rangers or any other TV fictional show. It's fictional. At the end of the day, you shouldn't let it affect your personal life. I don't think people let things affect their personal life like that, personally. But if somebody were to tell me that, I would just tell them, no, it doesn't affect my personal life. Like, I'm more than fine. Like, just because I'm critical or harsh on something doesn't mean it takes me away and makes me ruin my entire day with my girlfriend, or takes me away from being able to focus or study what I'm studying. You know what I mean? So my response to them would be, you clearly have no understanding of what you're talking about, because you don't have an understanding of my life, and you don't understand of the idea that I know how to brush things off easily. So people like that, I don't know what to tell them. I really don't know what to tell them. Media, fictional media, storytelling is a part of my life. It's what I love to do, sort of thing. But understand that if it's something that I watch and I'm critical of it and I'm passionate when I speak about it, understand when I turn this camera off and I go and live my life, I live my life. I live my life. I don't sulk around all day. Man, I can't stand what they did this week. Girlfriend, you want to have sex? Get out of here. No. Can you believe Jay Borg, what she did? Get out of here. No. Come on. Are you kidding me? No. I just think, no. People are just stupid. People are just ignorant. Like, you have to be able to, like, I think people just, I don't think people should approach people like that. So if someone were to say that, I would probably call them stupid to their face. Probably not. I probably wouldn't call them stupid to their face, but I would just explain to them, like, I'm a grown man. I know how to be creative. I know how to be constructive with my criticism, but I also know how to explain it in a respectful way, never demanding of anything, never having true expectations, being pleased with what they wind up giving me. But even after I'm harsh or critical on a show or anything that I review, make no mistake, it has no effect on my personal life. It doesn't. I know how to turn that switch off. I know how to go about my day and enjoy other content. I just don't let stuff get to me that way. I'm sure not everybody can do that, but I would hope that everybody would be able to learn how to do that. The idea of treating somebody like, and then you go into further detail, someone who thinks that you can't separate fact from fiction, that you treat like that's different with the idea of the question or comment that you asked me earlier about the idea of you shouldn't be too critical or harsh on a fictional television show. But if someone thinks that you can't separate fact from fiction, I mean, that's for me, I clearly can. I can't answer that question for everybody, because there are clearly some people out there that can't separate it, right? Wyatt Russell as John Walker in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There are some people out there that are taking his fictional character and putting their anger towards John Walker. So I see why people would comment or think that some people maybe take this kind of stuff too seriously. For me, that's not the case, though. I just think maybe it's a mature level. Maybe it's understanding. Maybe it's a little bit of a mental level. Maybe it's a little bit of both. So I really can't answer that question outside of how I would respond. And my response would be, one, that's not me. And two, I know how to separate stuff from my own personal life. I don't let a terrible episode or a terrible character ruin the rest of my day. And if people are letting that happen to them, they're doing it wrong, and they're taking it way too seriously. Way too seriously. They're, when you open up your windows, there are people, there are sun, there are clouds, there are trees, there are games, there are bikes, there's so much other stuff in life, right? Isn't it great to be human? Be a human, right? Go out and experience yourself. Don't let this stuff control your day. Just don't let it. If the people who make negative comments on their channel start reviewing Power Rangers, would the Power Ranger community be so welcoming towards them or not? I'm sure some people would. I'm sure some people would. You have channels out there, and I don't necessarily know if that's Power Rangers or not, but you do have channels out there just in fandom in general that are there to be negative. There are big YouTube channels that are popular because of the fact that they're negative. People want to hear you rant and rave and shit on people. This person's positive a lot of the time. Why would I watch that? Like, that's the mindset that some people have, right? Some people want to gather around and just crap on people. So would there be an audience? Absolutely. Absolutely. You telling me? I'm sure there are plenty of Power Ranger fans out there that would love to crap on Power Rangers, that say they're fans but want to crap on everything, not even constructive criticism, but just want to complain and nitpick and things like that. So yeah, if the people who make negative content on the channel start reviewing Power Rangers, would the Ranger community be so welcoming towards them? Some people would. Some people absolutely would. Is that all of the Ranger community? Probably not, but I'm sure there would be some followers. You know what I mean? There definitely would be. There's a little bit of everything for everybody. What are your thoughts when you hear actors in Power Rangers not wanting to ever be associated with Power Ranger community and want to try and get rid of their work on Power Rangers by moving on to other projects so they are remembered for other works instead? Well, I will say this. I don't expect a Power Ranger actor to only want to be a Power Ranger actor. I don't think the idea of a Power Ranger actor going on to want to do other things is with the extent of being remembered for other work instead. I think they just want other work and to become even bigger than what they already are. It's a passion of theirs, sort of thing. So I'm sure some Rangers don't have that mentality. And I'm sure there are some Rangers that probably did have that mentality, that maybe had a terrible experience on set, maybe had some terrible experiences with fans, because that's not out of the realm of possibility at all. Maybe it's just a time period that just really rubbed them the wrong way, and they don't want to necessarily be associated with just being known as a Power Ranger. It's kind of like the Luke Skywalker situation for Mark Hamill. I don't know if Mark Hamill probably could have gone on to be other great things. And he did, don't get me wrong, but I mean, acting wise, right? A lot of his stuff, I feel like outside of his time as in the 80s or 90s Flash, I feel like Mark Hamill's been most notably known as a voice actor. You know what I mean? Carrie Fisher, I think, has been in a couple things here or there, but sometimes you get stuck in those roles that people just see you as, Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker. And some people don't want to just be remembered for being a Power Ranger. And that's okay. They have a much bigger career in mind that they have ahead of them, maybe a bigger TV star, maybe a bigger Power Ranger star also, a bigger movie star also, type of thing. So, for those actors that don't want to be associated with Power Rangers or the community, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. Now, if it's because of the fact they just think it's dumb now and they hate the show, then hey, more power to you, man, I guess. But some people have their reasons, bad reasons or good reasons. I don't mind when they do. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your time. I hope that you come back and maybe you've gotten older and you got a different mindset towards Power Rangers, and you want to dabble back in it. Like God, I'm drawing a blank now on her name from RPM, the Yellow Ranger. She was just on iZombie. I just lost her name, guys. What's her name? not her character name, but her not her character name, but the actress's name, from RPM, the Yellow Ranger. I can't remember her name, but she was also in iZombie, right? I remember she came out here to Dallas. Rose McIver. Thank you, AJ. Rose McIver. She went on to do big things after her career in RPM. And I remember she was at a convention here in Dallas, and I got the opportunity to ask her. I was like, hey, Hasbro has purchased Power Rangers. They're doing some great things now, with the franchise. Now that iZombie's been canceled or it's wrapping up, would you be interested in maybe coming back to Power Rangers? And she was all about it. She's like, if they gave me a call, I would love to. It's in my my home of New Zealand. It films out there and things like that. So I would be open to coming back. So there are some people that are definitely, doesn't matter how big they get, they have a love for it. Hopefully they would come back. But I get the idea if some people are just, that was a launching off point for them, and they didn't, maybe that was just a drop in the bucket of their career and in their life, and they were just ready to move on to other things. And I think that's fine too. So I don't like being harsh on some of those actors for their decisions in regards to that. I'm sure they have a very good reason to. This also comes from Dino Fury. My name is Carl. What's up, Carl? He says, some of your favorite series finale of Power Rangers and team ups. Wait, was that I thought I had another one. Oh, you guys are sneaking these in last minute, man. You're making the show a little bit longer. Okay, let me get back to you. Yeah, all right, let me get to this one real quick then. Some of your favorite series finales of Power Rangers and team ups. Favorite team ups, definitely Forever Red. I was also even a big fan of I really like the recent 25th anniversary one. There's a couple of other ones out there too. What was the Time Force one? Was that Wild Force? Can't remember off the top of my head, honestly. There are some good ones out there, though. If you could take a guess, what elements of Real Soldier do you think will be used in Dino Fury and elements that won't? I'm still aiming for the Excalibur. I'm really hoping that Excalibur will come back. I really don't want too much of Real Soldier to be carried over, honestly. I do hope Precious, the villain, gets brought back over. I don't want the main villain of Real Soldier to be utilized as the final boss. I do hope that it's either Precious or Void Knight working on something to get to that point. And I wouldn't mind a mentor or a previous master of Zato to maybe come back also. What were your overall great memories from the original Saban era of Power Rangers and leading into Disney era? Do you feel like Dino Fury so far is taking homages from both eras? I definitely do. I definitely do think that they are. I think they're doing a great job of mixing it up so far. Great memories from original Saban era. The Alien Rangers, I remember they were so weird and cool at the same time. Like, what the F? Green with Evil, of course, was fantastic. I always loved the premiere of In Space, just that that dinner set where we get introduced to Andros and his mysterious cloak right at the enemy dinner. That was always pretty cool. All of In Space, clearly. Seeing our Rangers get the Zeo powers for the very first time. The appearance of the White Ranger. I mean, so many great memories. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Let's see here. L'Oreal, didn't Javi rock on his guitar or what? Yeah, he was jamming, man. I wonder if he's ever played that before. I wonder who gave him that guitar. Like, is that Bert Selling's guitar? And he's like, here, you can use this as a prop this week. Or is that his own? I'm kind of curious. Or is this a regular prop? I don't know. When his dad took his guitar away, he really did live up to that name Emilio called him, right? Buzzkill, absolutely. You're making too much noise. It's bird nesting season. Really? Really? Okay. They finally have a black guy as a Gold Ranger. Isn't it great? Yeah, another first, man. Another first for that. And to have two black actors in one as Power Rangers all on the same team. Great inclusion this season. And last but not least, we got Doomsday here. Last week, you misread my question about your favorite Gokaiger. You read it as between Captain Marvelous and Luca, but it actually was, read besides Captain Marvelous. Thank you for the clarification, Doomsday. But besides Captain Marvelous and Luca, who's my favorite? Probably Joe. Then, if I had to pick anybody, probably Joe. Going back and watching it again, no, I might change that. Ugh, hold on. Damn. There's so many good characters on this show. I'm actually even growing a little bit more of an appreciation for Doc and him, but I'll go with Joe. I'll go with Joe right now. I was gonna say Guy, but I'm gonna go with Joe right now. I'll see how the remainder of the season goes. But I do love his storyline with Body Zorg. I love his connection with Captain Marvelous, seeing their past, how Joe wind up becoming a pirate himself also. So I do love that aspect and that personality of Joe. The very quiet to himself character, but that's his strength. Like there's an episode of Gokaiger where Joe just wants to be alone, to just be in his thoughts, to just think like he experienced something bad. I got to be alone. Him wants to just be there for him. It's like, guys, shouldn't we do something? Shouldn't we take care of him, help him out through this process? And Marvelous is like, no, Joe will come back when he's ready. Joe will come back, right? He'll do his own thing. And it was a really difficult lesson for him to kind of learn in regards to how the other Gokaigers operate. But you see his thought process. You see how he uses his emotions as his strength. You see his devotion to Captain Marvelous and how Marvelous knows, because of the link that they have, that Joe's always going to come back if he can. That Marvelous has nothing to worry about when it comes to Joe. Doesn't matter what struggles he's going through. Joe knows where his place is, and that's with the pirates. And so I there's something really admirable about that I really dig for Joe. Never want to back down, always up for a fight, a master at what he does. Yeah, I think Joe's probably up there with my next favorite after those two. If Saban still owned Power Rangers by now, don't you think that we would have made the Green Ranger a guy instead of a girl? Probably. He probably would have just kept to the status quo, honestly. One female on this team, and that's it. Let's move on. You know what I'm saying? Like, just status quo. Don't you like that Dino Fury has two firsts? From what I remember, Tessa Rao being the first female Green Ranger and Jordan Fite the first African American Sixth Ranger. Absolutely. I love the fact that it has two firsts, and actually three firsts now that you think about it, right? So Simon Bennett and the cast and crew very much aware of what they're doing in that sense, and continuing to prove why Power Rangers is definitely for everybody. Very at the forefront of inclusion and diversity and representation ever since the 90s. And they have not backed away from that at all, sort of thing. So I think Power Rangers is a great, still holds true to today, if not now more than it ever certainly has, right? Where everybody's being a lot more vocal and wanting to be included. Power Rangers is just perfect for this era, if you ask me. But overall, other than that, guys, I think that's going to go ahead and do it for us here. We have been going for 2 hours and a half strong, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you for everybody that certainly joined me. Listen, if I happen to miss you popping up in here, real quick, see, Shelby, thank you very much, Shelby Chandler, for certainly coming through, saying, I feel like we're more likely to get Amelia and Ollie, maybe as you guys are talking about some shipping and things like that. But if I did miss anybody else that wind up popping up in here, I do apologize. But thank you very much, certainly, for your time, as always, to spend a couple of hours out of your day talking Power Rangers and being a part of Ranger Nation and Tokusatsu fandom in general, guys. So thank you very much for that. We will be back next week, clearly, to go ahead and give you our review for Dino Fury. So another live episode of A+ Morphinominal coming your way next Saturday at noon live Central Time. Definitely go ahead and join us. And for you Marvel fans and DC fans and movies and television fans, we do have a live episode of A Plus Hero Report going live tomorrow, Sunday, live at noon Central Time. Definitely go ahead and join us there as we tackle all the news and wrap up everything from this week's news of nerd pop culture also. But other than that, guys, that's going to do it here for us. So thank you very much for certainly joining us as always. We certainly will be back next week. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, or if you want to follow us on social media, please go ahead and do so. You can find us at A Plus Opinions, very active over on Twitter, as well as our main Facebook page. You can also check us out over on Instagram as well as Twitch. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, guys, along with that bell notification. And if you want to support the channel monetarily, I will put a link in the description box below for our Patreon, so you can get exclusive and early access content as well. But other than that, guys, that's going to do it for me here today. So do me a big favor, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.